other areas. As you know, they don't have the advantage of having sea. It's a great country. It's a big country, but they don't have sea. They don't have the ports.
That meeting with Hungary's prime minister is happening right now in the White House cabinet room. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-895-1414. That's 800-895-1414. 800-895-1414.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our bouncing temperatures continue, but we are about to bounce into the deep freeze, though certainly not this afternoon. 71, partly sunny and windy. Tonight, clear skies, 45 for the overnight low. Saturday, partly sunny, couple of spot showers, windy, 65. Saturday night, a couple of snow flurries and 35. Sunday, sunny, just plain cold on Sunday and breezy, 42. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Oh, yeah, this is the moment you have been waiting for.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
Annie's out. Ryan and Brad are in.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
This is the Mannie Frey Show.
My balanced budget amendment is unique. What it does is it says that Congress cannot raise the ceiling. The states have to vote to raise the debt ceiling. I'm putting us back on a fiscal path of sanity. And then two, I'm returning some of these powers back to the states, which is where it originally was. The federal government would come to the states and say, here's our proposed spending, and with your permission, can you please write a check, right? And the states could go, why are you spending? No, we're not going to write that check, right? I worked with the Goldwater Institute to try to craft something that puts some discretion back in the power of the states.
That is Representative Eric Burleson with a little soundtrack to it. That's the best we could do because it was on a podcast. That is a creative proposal from Representative Eric Burleson, who is on the Annie Frey Show pretty often, and I'm glad that he is. He may not be somebody that you think of as being a really outside-the-box thinker, but he really is. He comes up with solutions. We were just talking to him this week, and in the middle of the interview, he busts out, look, we need to solve healthcare. Here's my plan.
Here's my plan.
I'm like, dang, that was pretty sweet. I love when people do that because so many Congress people of the 400-some, 38 of them, whatever it is, 435, you really don't ever hear much from them. They kind of go with the flow, and I guess that's okay. You need some people who are going to do that because everybody can't be a leader. But Eric Burleson, I do believe, is a leader, and he's a thought leader. And I appreciate finding things like that to talk about with you here on the Annie Frey Show. Of course, it's the Mannie Frey Show today because Brad and I and Ethan are taking over on this Friday. And guess what? Since it's me, if you know this show and you know Wiggins America at all, I love talking about balanced budgets. And some of you are like, that is super boring. The rest of you know that it is a national security emergency, and you're on the same page as me because it is one of the issues that I can't shut up about, how much debt this country is in and how it is a ticking time bomb that for whatever reason, I guess because we don't pay attention to it enough, we're not dealing with it. So guess what we're going to talk about?
Well, it's because people never see the effects of it.
Well, you
yet.
see inflation. That's the one time you do see it. But you're right. You don't see the mass effects of like an implosion.
Right. They have to link They don't link inflation to this.
Right. But that's what it is. That's literally what it is. Just a little crash course in inflation. Do you know why a cheeseburger in 1993 cost 50 cents and why it doesn't now? Because we've just printed more money. The demand is about the same. People still eat cheeseburgers at about the same rate as they ever did. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe the supply is not quite keeping up, but not as much to make a cheeseburger go up by more than double. It was probably cheaper than that in 1995. It was probably 25 cents or whatever. I don't remember. But the point is, it would still be that price now if we hadn't printed $30 trillion since then. Whatever it is, that's why you have inflation. It's one of the reasons houses go up. There's other reasons too, but it's the reason everything goes up because we just print more money. That's it. And so eventually that's going to implode. And I got a lot of reasons to talk about that. I might talk about Venezuela and Mamdani here in sometime in this show. That's a surprise to Brad. I didn't bring that one up yet. But in this segment, I have a creative proposal. And that's why I started with Eric Burleson, because he's talking about returning power to the states. He goes in a little bit more detail, but I've been working on a plan, too, that I want to propose to you. And I'm not under some grand illusion that the President of the United States is going to hear the segment and go, wow, that's a great plan. Let's go do that.
But you never know.
But hey, I mean, I'm on the radio, so it's a step in the right direction.
We know people who are adjacent to him.
Hey, why not? So,
Mr. President, you have to hear this.
So I'm not saying that this is the way Annie Frey would necessarily start the show, but it is the way that we're going to start it today by giving you my 3 to 4 point plan to balance the budget of the United States. And what I want you to listen to this, and then we're going to open the phones up in the next segment. I want you, and Brad, you too, I want you to listen to my plan, because you haven't heard it yet either, and poke holes in it. Like, find ways that you think that this could fail.
Okay.
And if you find a glaring, fatal flaw in it, fine. But this is how we've come up with better stuff.
But you start with, I have an idea.
Here's the idea, and I'm just going to present it to you here, and I want you to basically destroy it. And if you can't destroy it, then maybe it stands. Maybe it actually has some merit to it. So this is to balance the budget. Step 1 is to bail out all state debt. Now, if you're like, that's a terrible way to balance the budget. All states, well, not all, but most states in the United States have their own debt. Federal government obviously has the most, but states have their individual amounts of debt. And I think there are some states that actually do have a balanced budget and are not in debt, because they're two different things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, most states are carrying some debt. So I looked it up to find out how much debt are all of the United States, all 50 states collectively carrying. And it's just under $3 trillion. Now, that's a lot of money. But when you consider how much we spend every year, which is about $7 trillion, it's not that much to say, okay, wipe the slate clean. Now you're probably asking, Brad, and anybody listening, why would you do that? Why would that be your first step to balance the federal budget?
Wipe the slate clean, meaning
all states would have no debt. You would, and there's a deal here coming, so keep that in mind, that if you're a state, and you're talking about with Eric Burleson there saying states take control back, if you're a state that wants to get on board with this, your debt would be wiped clean by the federal government. So there's a give and take here. That's the give. We will give you whatever you need to wipe away your debt.
So the federal government gives state monies to wipe away their debt?
Yes.
Okay.
So the federal government's saying to states, we will wipe away your debt.
We'll pay your bills.
In exchange for your vote on a constitutional convention for a balanced budget amendment, which would state that you cannot spend more at the federal government level. Keep in mind, states could still do whatever they want. But at the federal government level, a balanced budget amendment would state you cannot spend more in a given year than you take in. So we would never add any more to the debt. We would still have debt, but you would instantly balance the budget every year by making that a constitutional requirement through a convention of states. Now, if you don't know what a convention of states is, a lot of you are like, Ryan, I don't need to know this. Well, I know that, but some of you probably don't know what a convention of states is. This is part of the Constitution that's really rarely, if ever, used. I can't remember. I know it's not been used.
It's one of the ways to amend the Constitution.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know the history well enough to know that it's ever actually been used. It's there. It's very well spelled out in how to do it, but that's not the way that amendments usually happen to the Constitution. In fact, in anybody listening's lifetime, I don't think that there's been an amendment to the Constitution. What was the last one? Maybe the 60s? So that would be some people's lifetimes, of course.
So you could go to conventionofstates.com.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting into the history of it for no reason because that doesn't have anything to do with it. But a convention of states doesn't happen very often. The way that it happens is you need a certain number of states to come together and call Congress to the floor and say, we want to pass a new amendment to the Constitution. Congress itself is not going to do this, especially with the filibuster. So that's a different issue that we're talking about right now. But enough states could get together and pass a balanced budget amendment to make it happen. And guess what? A bunch of states have already done this. In fact, it's almost 20 states. As I look at it right now, 19 states have already passed their legislation that says we want to call a convention. Now, you can't actually call it until you get to 34 states, but 19 have already done it. That's the ones you would think of. It's your red states mostly. You got Arizona in there, that's a swing state. You got Wisconsin in there, and that's a swing state. But it's mostly red states that have called for this. And this is in the last, basically the Trump era, so not very many before that, 2014 and on, basically. Well, North Carolina, Kansas, South Dakota, and Wyoming have already worked legislation up to do this. So they look like they're in the process of doing it. So that gets you up to 23. Then you count off a few other states that would definitely get on board with it before my plan. Like, this is all actually happening right now without us saying, hey, we'll bail you out. Montana, Idaho, Nevada, Iowa, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Some of those are swing states, of course, but some of those would be slam dunks like Iowa, Idaho, Montana. They definitely get on board. That gets you to 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That gets you to 30 right there. Now, not all of those are guarantees either, but let's say that we can get to 30 just on our own because we're actually there already. That doesn't include New Hampshire. That doesn't include Minnesota. That doesn't include New Mexico. These are states that maybe you could convince, but are kind of on the border. Basically, if you're at 30 or close to it, you would need to get 4 more states on board to call the convention. That's not that many. That's not a lot. And if you came up with this grand bargain and said, hey, we'll bail out your debt if you give us a vote for a constitutional amendment on a budget proposal, on a balanced budget, would you get 34 states to do it? I think you could. So let's say that you could do that. What's the next step? Well, then you take it to the Constitutional Convention, and unfortunately, you have to have 34 to call it, but you have to have 38 to pass it. So you do have to get some more states on board. And if you're sitting there thinking about this, as I've asked you to do you think this is possible? One of the critiques that you might come up with is, well, but getting to 38 is going to be tough. If you need states like California and Illinois to come on board, clearly the governors of those states, Kathy Hochul in New York, they hate Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump is attached to this in any way, which he would have to be because you have to have the megaphone to do it.
Right.
If he's the one doing it, they're just a no matter what. Granted, I understand that, but that's just 3 states. What if you could get Michigan? What if you could get Virginia? I don't know. They just moved leftward. What if you get Washington or Oregon? Could you get New Mexico? I mean, these are states that, man, it seems like you could maybe negotiate with them to get out of debt. And I also looked up which states had the worst debt. Care to take a guess at that? The 3 states with the absolute most debt in the United States.
I'm going Illinois, California, and New York.
That is 100% correct. Those 3 have the most debt. So they have the most to gain from a proposal like this.
And not in that order.
Not in that order.
I would say California, New York, then Illinois.
You are correct. Those are the top 3. And it's mostly blue states that have the worst debt, which means that they are the worst managed financially. Are we offering them a bailout? Yeah. Do they deserve it? No. But to get a balanced budget, I'm willing to make that compromise. Are you? It's the question we're asking you. Now, before you get to the last criticism here and say, yeah, but then you're balancing the budget, but you're not getting out of debt. You're not getting out of debt at all. In fact, you'd actually add to it to get there. Yes, we would. You'd add it, and you'd probably get up to a little over 40 trillion. We're at 38 right now. So that sucks. It sucks that you'd have to add that, and maybe it would even add a little bit of inflation. And then people go, shoot, man, I'm really not on board if you're going to have more inflation over the next few years just to get to this point. But your debt would never rise from that point on. You'd be at 40 trillion forever. You'd never be able to go higher than that, because you'd kind of draft that into the legislation that you have to stop it where you're at.
So your debt doesn't increase at 40 trillion. 40 trillion is the cap.
That's the cap, and that's the permanent cap, which means as you grow as a nation, your GDP would grow. You'd grow your way out of this. And the weird thing is, some of what I'm saying right now was actually part of a Paul Ryan plan back in the Romney era. I know. But those guys did understand finances, and they understood how to do these things. At least they were talking about it. We're not even talking about it anymore. It's part of the reason I'm saying it right now. So let's say, again, I'm trying to head off any criticisms of the plan. Let's say that you go, yeah, okay, that's great, Ryan, but are voters really that concerned with this? Well, no, they're not. How do you get them concerned with this? How do you get them on board? Well, first, you call this act the Stop Inflation Act, because ultimately that's what it would do.
Okay.
If you can't print more money, in the short term, you would print a little bit more. Long term, you couldn't print any more. You'd stop inflation. You really would. That would be it. So you can call it the Stop Inflation Act, or you could call it the Stop Prices Rising Act. That's what Trump likes to do, is really just put it in language you get.
It's possible.
But either way, you call it that, and you offer this to voters. This is the fourth point in my 4 points. You offer voters, as part of the legislation, that from now on there is no more income tax over $100,000. And you know what? That doesn't really make a dent in anything. It's about $280 billion a year that the government collects from income taxes under $100,000, which means over 75% of all income taxes come from people who make more than $100,000.
So the fourth point is, say this one more time.
Remove income taxes for everybody making under $100,000.
Okay.
Now you got some real incentive for people.
People, yeah.
Put some money in your pocket permanently, and to weather this immediate little inflation that you will have from taking the state's budgets down to zero from the federal government.
Okay.
That's my 4 points. Now, I hopefully that's not like too in-depth to listen to on the radio. It's probably easier to like see it on a chart or something, but we got the radio, so that's what I'm doing. Brad is pointing at me.
I do have some questions.
He's got some questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop right here. We're going to open the phones up. And I want you to call in and say, here's why I don't think that will work. It's fine if you want to call in and say why you do think it would work. I just figured it'd be more interesting if we kind of debated it. So if you want to call in and say, Ryan, I see a flaw in your plan, this is the time to do it. 314-241-9797. I really have no idea. Maybe we don't get any calls on this and we just debate it amongst ourselves. I have no idea. I'm just saying it's open if you want to. 314-241-9797. We'll take a short break and be right back with you.
Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
If your kitchen's not even functional and you can't stand the look of your bathroom, stop just living around the problem. Let Lakeside Renovation and Design help you love your home again. From spa-like bathrooms to these beautiful, functional, custom kitchens to a finished basement, their in-house team over there at Lakeside, they're going to help bring any vision you have to life. They're going to walk you through every step of the process, the planning, the permits, all the things we don't like to do. They take care of it. You just have to dream. And they have financing options like 0 payments, 0% interest for 24 months. Schedule your free consultation today. It's lakesiderd.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you could get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
Family focused, faith filled, always on point. It's the Annie Frey Show.
All right, having a little fun here, coming up with a creative way to balance the budget in America, and that's actually the YouTube live chat poll today if you're on our stream. Will America ever have a balanced budget again, yes or no? I desperately hope the answer is, of course, yes, but I mean, we have a Republican Congress right now. They're not balancing the budget. They're trying to get the government back open, but at levels that still add to the debt. So I'm asking you about this 4-point plan, and I'll recap it just again really quick here. Bail out all the states' debt in exchange for their vote on a constitutional convention to vote for a balanced budget amendment. As a part of that, you would keep all the debt levels at the same level that you're at right now and just grow your way out because you'd always have it capped. And then number 4 is you would remove income tax for anybody making under $100,000. So let's go first.
Hey, real quick.
Go ahead.
So you had asked when the last time there was a constitutional convention of states, and that was Rhode Island, 1986. But the last time a constitutional convention of states was held to propose amendments to the U.S. Constitution was 1787, which resulted in the creation of the Constitution that we have today.
That's the last time they used it?
That's the last time they used it to amend the Constitution.
But it's been called since then.
Yeah.
But that's the last,
yeah.
but nothing happened.
It is not used, and they did that because the Articles of Confederation were doo-doo, and they needed to get rid of them. So they amended it and basically changed the whole government to the current Constitution.
Well, there's the history. What about this plan? Jenna is on the phone. Jenna, do you see any fatal flaws with what I'm proposing?
No, not at all. But I would just add that you work something in there about reducing the debt and bring that ceiling down over time. And I think that President Trump has already begun that with the tariffs, and maybe there's other people like yourself who are smart who can see the bigger picture and work other things in there to reducing the debt, just like we would do in our own personal finances. You know, you cap the spending and then you work on reducing the debt. It's very simple and plain, and I love your plan. I told the guy before you I would make a donation to fly you to Washington to present it to President Trump, like right now.
All right, Jen, I think what we're going to do is we're going to
before the midterms.
We're going to put you on hold, and then we're going to get your PayPal if that's cool. Because I would love a vacation.
I don't have PayPal. Sorry.
Well, this whole plan's coming apart, isn't it?
That's how convinced I am about how you presented it. It was perfect. It's well thought out, and I think it's a go. I would say if President Trump heard this, he would be like, okay, come here, let's work on this.
Well, thank you. We will make that into a video and share it with everybody in the world, Jenna.
That sounds fantastic. Good. Thank you for putting it out there.
All right. Thank you, Jenna, for your call. I appreciate that. And the criticism there being that you still do have to get out of debt eventually. Yeah. I understand that. That's something, though, that I'm willing to sort of compromise on because you're not going to get Congress to sign. You're not going to get Congress to sign on this easily anyway. But if you tell them we're also going to reduce the amount that you can spend immediately, I just don't think that you're going to get them on board. So, yes, what you're saying, Jenna, is completely correct. You do have to get out of debt eventually. I'm just willing to compromise and say, let's just cap it and stop adding to it. And that's where I mentioned Paul Ryan. That's actually part of his plan back in 2010 or whatever that was when he was Speaker. He said, if we can cap the debt at its its current level.
Stop the train.
You can actually grow your way out of it eventually. I mean, eventually you're still going to have debt, but you could grow your way out of that debt being a huge problem.
So the debt is growing faster than the GDP.
Correct.
And so think of it as a race. This is what Ryan's saying. So if you're having trouble conceptualizing this, Ryan is saying stop the train that's outrunning the GDP, and eventually that GDP will catch up to it.
That is correct.
Now, I had a question.
Real quick, before we get to your question, Brad, 314-241-9797 if you want to call.
So I had a question too, and I got a text message from a loyal listener, Balls. He texted me the same question. He said, basically, what do you do with the payments on $40 trillion worth of debt? So you're saying that the cap would be $40 trillion. That's where you would be at if you pulled in all the states' debts. And the idea of pulling in the states' debts is to convince them to get on board with a constitutional convention so we could do that, so that we could pass a balanced budget amendment.
Yeah. So the question is, what do you do with the
debt?
debt?
Is that calculated into how, like, the amount of interest and the payments on that to lock it in at $40 trillion? Because it is my understanding that whenever you pay that debt off at $40 trillion, that's where your debt is going to end up with everything else the same.
So I'm trying to make sure I'm getting what your question is. So you're saying, yes, we lock it in at $40 trillion.
So yeah.
So what do we do with the 40?
Under your plan, we lock it in at $40 trillion. That's where the debt will sit as soon as because we've paid
forever.
That's because we've paid the states.
Yes.
So we pay the states, boom, our debt is $40 trillion.
Okay.
What do we do with the spending levels of everything else? Because that increases the amount that we're spending anyway.
I'm not sure I follow.
So like our budget for the military, our budget for Social Security, our budget for the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
Our budget for
they're still, the costs are still going up,
right?
But our debt isn't.
Our debt doesn't go up, but we've increased the portion of the pie because you only have $40 trillion. You can't increase it, so everything has to be balanced there. What gets the cut whenever you start factoring in that interest rate on $40 trillion?
Okay, I think that you're getting into semantics that I am willing to get into, but that's stuff that you would have to deal with once you got it in, because then you're getting into individual cuts here and there, which is kind of the point.
I'm not necessarily asking for semantics, but I'm wondering how we can increase our debt level to $40 trillion and lock our budget in and not increase that if we're not, because you're
still
saying
paying the interest.
Yeah,
I think I follow you.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to make cuts at something.
I think I follow you. I'm almost going to have to digest your question because you'd have to get into a lot of numbers.
Right.
I'm trying to keep this broad, at least for the moment.
I guess what I'm wondering is there enough of the pie left whenever you have interest payments and payments on $40 trillion of debt to pay for anything else without increasing the
The answer to your question is yes. Jeff is on the phone. Jeff, do you agree? Do you find any flaws with the plan?
No, I agree with the plan because I think the bipartisan way of going with parties is not going to work out. So this is a great idea. My concern is the states that you're bailing out, Illinois, California, New York, will end up going back into debt again. Once they get bailed out, they're not going to change their ways, and they'll go back in debt, and then they'll look for more money.
Well, Jeff, that's a huge concern, and it is very true. That is a flaw of the plan. The problem is that I don't know that Illinois, California, and New York would actually get on board with it because you could actually pass it without those states. Mm-hmm. Let's say they did, though, and they actually did get their debt wiped away, and you rewarded the bad behavior, so to speak. Yeah, you're right. They could just go right back into debt if they wanted to, but then it's on them, and at least your federal government isn't going to implode. You'd have to let states kind of deal with it.
Yeah, I would think that part of the agreement would have to include that no more bailouts. You don't get anything. This is your last bailout. This is it. You're on your own.
Maybe
okay,
so.
Well,
yeah.
They may not believe it, but I thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, Jeff, appreciate the call. Sherry, we're going to go to you in St. Charles. What do you think of this plan?
I think it's horrible. You're rewarding the child that is out of control and can't contain themselves, for one thing. And then you're punishing people who've worked their entire lives to hit that $100,000 mark, and now they're going to be paying all the taxes.
Well, they still would benefit from it too. So it's anything under $100,000 you wouldn't pay taxes on.
Well, what about everybody over? Because I'm at the age where we're in that we'll be fronting the whole bill, and it's not fair.
Well, Sherry, let me explain this just a little bit better, just in case. And you can completely disagree, but let me just make it clear what I'm saying. So you still would benefit because anything that you paid on $100,000 or less would still be tax-free to you. So it's not as if you made $100,000 and then you got to pay your full taxes. You'd still be just paying on $1,000 at that point. So you'd still benefit from paying less in income taxes, which would benefit everybody, right?
Well, I don't know. I still am stuck on the states that didn't mind their own business and keep within their budget. We're just letting them go free when all the states that work so hard to maintain budgets, what is the reward for them? I mean, it isn't right. Sorry.
That's okay, Sherry. I really appreciate that. And it's very true. You are rewarding bad behavior here by saying, okay, let's make a deal. The only reason I'm even considering this, because I'm saying, look, and I live in Illinois, look, let them fry, like if you made your bed, you got to sleep in it. But I'm also trying to find a solution to get us to where we actually could balance the budget. And without sort of blue states or Democrats, we'll never do it. Yeah. So we have to have some compromise somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, to her point, I think that there has to be some sort of cutoff from federal monies to these states.
That has to be baked into the legislation. Yes, we'll do it once. We'll never do it again.
No more dollars anymore from the federal government.
I mean, that's
you
a fair
exist on your own budget.
That's a fair compromise, but I think it's a good topic, and clearly you do too. You're calling in. Please continue to. I think what we're going to do, Mike and another couple callers calling in right now. We're going to take a short break. If you can stay, I understand you have a life, but if you can stay, we'll take you right after this short break. And a lot of you checking in on the stream too. We'll get to that here in just a second. This is the Mannie Frey Show. And we're talking about balancing the budget today. It's the YouTube live chat poll. We'll be right back.
That I'm gonna sit around and sing some old sad song. I believe it's half full, not a...
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants, so
we called Leaf Home Water Solutions.
They came to our home and did a free water test and gave us the analysis right away.
We were shocked at what we saw.
They found heavy metals like iron and copper.
Our own tap water was putting our health at risk, but Leaf Home Water Solutions made it easy to get safer water from every tap and hose. A whole home solution.
They have more than 250 product combinations and designed a system that fits our needs and budget. The installation took less than a day.
With Leaf Home Water Solutions, our water is safer and healthier. When we drink, when we cook, when we shower, even when we garden.
We feel better about our health.
Thanks to Leaf Home Water Solutions.
Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
In a world of cookie-cutter health plans, the Pauly Agency is proud to represent coverage that's tailor-made to fit your needs. The Pauly Agency put the sure in insurance. For a free quote, call the Pauly Agency at 636-222-2149.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, and we've been talking about it with you as you call in or as you comment on our YouTube page. Will America ever have a balanced budget again? Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no question. The last time we had a balanced budget, I think, was under the Clinton administration. The last time we had no debt was under Andrew Jackson back in 1835. So we want to know, will America ever have a balanced budget again? Yes or no? Also, Ryan's plan. Do you think it's a good idea? You think it's a bad idea? Call in 314-241-9797. You can also send us a text to 314-241-9797 and weigh in on this conversation. It is 12:36, and this time check is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Money.com.
Consistently right.
It's a ritual.
97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Talking about trying to come up with creative solutions to balance the budget. Once again, if you just are tuning in, my plan was, and this is just a creative proposal, is to, one, bail out all state debt in exchange for those states voting for a constitutional amendment, constitutional convention for amendment to balance the budget. Now, I get, we're kind of giving something away there that they don't deserve, but you got to compromise to get a balanced budget. And in my opinion, that's the greatest national security threat facing our country, is the fact that we're $38 trillion in debt. So that's the basics of it. A couple people I want to highlight who are chiming in online say, Quick Rick says, it was a good idea, Ryan, until you mentioned Trump's name. Yeah, I get it. It's true. Like, that may actually kill it before it gets to the floor. But that's why you offer the bait of, hey, but we'll bail out your debt. You have to give something to get something in return. Ender says, Ryan, I see a flaw in your plan. It's America first and would benefit the country. Thank you, Ender. People calling in. Let's go to Mike. I said we'd get to you. Mike, what do you think about this plan? Thanks for holding.
Good afternoon, Ryan and Brad. The Mannie Frey Show.
The Mannie Frey Show.
From the beginning.
Thanks. What do you think?
Well, anyway, I really like your idea. I really do. I'm on board with it, but I have 2 points. The first being is I don't think it's going to work long term, for the simple fact is this country's never went more than 10 years without a conflict and never more than 20 years without a major conflict. So that is usually where the bulk of debt is incurred. So we would not be in a position to defer that. We would have to take it on. And I'm not sure even where that money would come from, even at the debt we're in right now.
Yeah.
Second of all, I think to improve your plan, I think instead of completely taking the money that was collected in taxes from those making $100,000 and less, that you take 7% of that and you turn that into a mandatory retirement fund, thus being able to get rid of Social Security.
Wow. Ooh. All right. Hey, you know what, Mike? The reason that we're in so much debt is primarily 2 things. It's Social Security and it's health care. And so you do have to somehow fix those things. And anytime you say that, people go, you're not going to take it away, are you? No, you're not. You have to do things like you're talking about, come up with creative proposals. So yes. I appreciate that.
I'm here to help.
Well, cool. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the call. Frankie is on the line. Darren, sorry we didn't get to you in time. You had to go. But Frankie, what do you think of this plan?
Hi, Brian. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic plan, but I kind of wanted a couple, and the lady a moment ago that called in that said it was like rewarding the bad child and, they would continue to run their states into the ground. She has a point about that. However, in response to that, they can no longer get money from the federal government anymore. So if they choose to run their state into the ground again, they're going to lose their state. People are going to leave, and they're going to have more problems. So they're either going to recognize that and address it and vote somebody in that can actually balance the state's budget, or they're going to lose people, and that's going to create a bigger problem.
You know what?
And they're not going to have the control that they had.
Frankie, it's a really good point, and you're the second person who's brought that up. What happens after you bail out their debt? Do states just go back to spending a lot? And then if you have a balanced budget, do future Democrat presidents say, okay, well, then here's what we're going to do. California, you go do all this stuff, and then we'll just give you all the money to do it. So you'd have to kind of head that off before it happened. It's a good point.
Right, exactly. But if it's, addressed up front, then you find ways to approach it and correct.
Yeah. Well, Frankie, I appreciate the call. And again, everybody who's calling in, I think that I'm encouraged, because what I'm finding is there are little things that would have to be tweaked about it, but nobody's found that Achilles heel about it yet.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it too, and Mike did
Mike
too.
said it's war. So outside of the baked-in things, which you described as healthcare and Social Security that are the big drivers of debt, the largest drivers of debt are the incidental things, the COVIDs, the wars, the unforeseen things, which war is almost foreseen at this point. You know it's going to happen again at some point. What do we do to kind of manage that?
So I'm glad you're asking that, because I did think about that before, because I've been thinking about this plan for like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of, churning it over and finding where would it fall apart? And that is one area that I've thought, well, what if there's war? You have to be able to fight a war to protect your country's national security. And if it goes beyond the defense budget, well, then what do you do with it?
Yeah.
So my answer to that would be, and you'd have to creatively say this, because if you just said, well, if you declare a national emergency, then you could overspend. Well, guess what would happen? They just constantly declare national emergencies.
Right.
We saw that during COVID.
Right.
That's what people constantly did. So the way that you'd have to say it is, if you declare war, if Congress declares
Yes, I agree with that.
war, then that's the only way that you can draw in higher debt cap spending. But you have to declare war.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be like, I got to go fight terrorism. You have to get Congress and the White House on board with a vote to formally declare war, like we have many times in the past, even though war is very different now. You still have to do that, and then you could officially raise that debt cap.
I really like that. And I also would propose a modification to your plan. How many states did you say?
You need 34 to call the convention, 38 to pass the amendment.
Okay, and how many have already called it?
19 have called it. 4 more are calling it. They're in the process of doing it. And then there's about a dozen or more that are something in the works somewhere.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it'll pass.
I wonder if, rather than saying all states, you only offer the debt forgiveness to the first 38 states that get on board with the plan.
That's fine with me. I'm completely fine with that. Yeah.
And then, like our callers have been saying, you bake into the cake.
Yeah.
We're not giving anybody else any more money. So if you have debt and you don't get on board with this fast
You're
enough,
done.
You still don't get any money, and it's up to you to figure out how to pay your debt. And if you get on board with this and you accrue more debt after this is paid off and zeroed you out, you're still on your own.
Yes. So, hey, California, you are $500 billion in debt just in your state. If you don't get on board with this, you will not get that forgiven, but New Mexico will.
Right.
Or whatever.
If you're not one of the 38 needed,
Then
the first 38
yeah.
yeses get it. Everybody else, you're late to the party. Sorry,
you're gone. Here's the reason I think this could work, because the problem is you do need a couple of dyed-in-the-wool blue states to do this. You need your random Minnesota, New Mexico, maybe Washington. There's a couple states like that you would need. So you got to get them on board. Are they so anti-Trump that they would just say no? That's, to me, the flaw in it, that if Trump is leading it and his name is on it.
Some of them are.
They might just say no, but it doesn't have to be all of them.
But I think the some that are would be the largest carriers of the debt. I think it would be your Californias, your New Yorks, and your Illinois, which if you say the first 38 and then everybody else is out of luck, and they're still like, we're Trump, nothing, blah, blah, blah. Well, we don't have to take on their debt, which makes and fast forwards this plan.
I see. This is why I think this is such an interesting proposal, because it is possible. And in fact, the wheels are already in motion to make it possible. You just got to add that carrot on the stick to get it over the line, to get it over the hump, to get it there. And we're right there. That's kind of where the rub lies for my plan. So thank you for indulging that. I really think we should just send this to President Trump. Brad's going to make a video. We send the thing. We get the thing started. Let's talk to New Mexico.
Clip.
Iowa's on board. Ohio, Pennsylvania, you're on board. We're doing this thing. Here we go. All right, short break. Thank you for listening to this hour. We're going to do Wiggins America. It's the Be or Not the Be, a tradition on Fridays, but Ethan will be leading that up next here on the Annie Frey Show.
I want something beautiful. Man, I wish I was beautiful. So come dance the silence down through the morning. Sha la 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 la, yeah.
Yeah. It's an annual tradition, the Florissant Veterans Day Parade at 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 9th. Come out and show your support as we salute the brave men and women who serve our nation. Details and parade route at 971talk.com/events.
Sometimes it seems all lawmakers do is tax and spend. That's why Missouri voters passed the Hancock Amendment in 1980 to place a limit on what the government can do with your money. But the Hancock Amendment is outdated. It hasn't provided a taxpayer refund since 1999 and probably won't without reform. That's why Missouri needs a taxpayer Bill of Rights. Colorado has one, and taxpayers there have received more than $8 billion in refunds. It's simple. There should be limits on government spending and refunds when there's a surplus in the state budget. A taxpayer Bill of Rights constitutional amendment would help limit the growth of government. Missouri's budget has nearly doubled in the past 5 years, yet the state lags far behind states like Colorado in economic growth. The Hancock Amendment was supposed to protect taxpayers. Now it's time for an update and a taxpayer Bill of Rights. After all, it's your money. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This is Justin Brown with Krentz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. Is your financial advisor proactive or reactive? If your strategy or service feels stagnant or misaligned, it may be time for a change. Our defined, proactive approach to investments and communication keeps you informed and prepared for what's ahead. Let's talk about what makes us different and how a more engaged advisor can help you reach your goals. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, member FINRA/SIPC. Krentz Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Dad, that's what Grandpa Rip always said.
That's right. 50 years ago, Grandpa started Grasser, and whenever a customer called, he'd smile and say, "Hey, it's good to see you."
Hey, it's good to see you.
It was his way of treating people like neighbors, not numbers. That's why we still say it today.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey, it's good to see you.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins.
The Bee or Not the Bee.
Still digging through a lot of comments here, and I do want to highlight one that is not quite on the topic we were. Info Dude says, totally off topic. It appears the McRib is back.
That is Ryan news if I've ever heard it. This is a day for you to be hosting Wiggins America because it's like you could make a whole segment out of that.
I heard
probably.
that the McRib availability is completely based on pork prices.
I've never had a McRib.
Well, we're going to open up the phones and ask if the McRib is totally based on pork prices or if you think that's a myth.
Okay.
314-241-9797.
Don't call in. I blocked the phone lines.
Do call in. Make him unblock the phones. I'm hosting today.
We're hosting today.
We're hosting today.
It is indeed the Mannie Frey Show.
All right,
and
be or not the bee.
This is the Bee or Not the Bee, where you out there, as well as Ryan and Brad, will have to decide if these stories are real or if they are satire from the Babylon Bee. So we will go ahead and get started here. Our first one, Zoran Mamdani, horrified to discover he now has a job.
Sounds real, but I'm going to go B.
I'm going to say it's the B.
It is indeed the Bee. In the wake of his overwhelming election win that signaled a dramatic political shift in the United States, New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani was reportedly horrified to wake up this morning and discover that he now had a job. The Ugandan-born socialist won a landslide victory on Tuesday over former Governor Andrew Cuomo, Republican Curtis Sliwa, and common sense only to come to the stunning realization that he would now have to work. I didn't think this through, Mamdani reportedly told one of the aides. I was all excited about the campaign and wanted to win, but I got so caught up in the competition that I didn't stop to think that I would end up, having a job. This is terrible.
Is he actually from Uganda?
Uganda born. Yeah.
I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah.
I thought he was Middle Eastern. Uganda is Africa.
No.
Oh,
well, maybe his
he's
families are, and he was born there.
Huh.
But
I mean, it's the B, and a lot of times when they drop those facts, those are real things in there.
I'm pretty sure that's real. Didn't they? He was back there not that long ago for a wedding or something.
It's for real. I've heard this multiple times. Did you guys hear about the bar at his celebration? He had a cash bar at his victory celebration.
You didn't get free drinks.
Did you see? Did you see his first like celebratory video that he had after, basically saying like, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start setting up all this." It's like a 90-second
Was it with
video.
Mehdi Hasan or
It was just him.
It was just
he was
no,
standing
no, I
on the
didn't see
rooftop
this.
of some building in NYC, and he's talking about some of the things they're going to be doing, the people they're going to be bringing on staff, and at the very end, he goes, it's like the last 15 seconds of the video. He goes, "Also, remember when we told you that you didn't need to send in any more money? Well, you can start sending that money again because it's going to cost money for us to bring all these people on staff." So it's just funny.
Wait a
like-
minute. He's asking for campaign contributions at the
Yes,
end of
he's
it?
asking for more money and more
He
donations.
told people to stop
after
giving?
winning.
Guys, we
At
tried
some
to tell
point, I
you.
guess he did.
We tried to tell you this guy is a fraud and a charlatan, and you didn't believe us because he's got a pretty smile.
Wait. This might be the only thing I've ever agreed with him on. He's trying to bring staff on that are privately funded instead of through the government?
That's what it seemed like to me in the video. Or at least that
More
they're
power
gonna
to him.
they're gonna need.
All
Also,
right.
those donations, yeah, send those in now because we're gonna need more money to bring on staff and blah blah blah. Basically, what he said.
Like, you have the government purse now. I don't know if you understand your position there, sir.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that is what that's how I took it.
Supporters like, what happened to tax the rich?
All right, next story here. New York Democrats run missing person in local election.
That's real?
It's got to be real.
It is indeed real.
Democrats ran a missing person?
They ran a missing person. This is according to the AP. New York Democrats ran. His name is Petros Kromidas. Was running for the Nassau County Legislature. Apparently went for a swim a while back. It doesn't give a specific date when competing or training in a triathlon, and he never came back. His keys closed. Everything was left out on the sands of Long Beach.
A
on Long Island.
triathlon and it never
was
came
training for a triathlon.
Oh.
So he needed more training.
So he went for a swim.
As the months passed, local Democrats attempted to field a replacement to run for the seat in the Nassau County Legislature, but they weren't able to do so.
Oh my gosh, does it say the guy's name? I'm going to look up and see if he won.
Yes, his name is Petros, Petros, Kromidas, Krommidas.
Okay, I'll look it up while you do the next one.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Our next story, email does not find man well.
Wait, say it again?
Email does not find man well.
This is the B. I hope
Hold
this
on,
email,
I don't even know what's happening.
I hope this email finds you well.
Email does not find
does
man
not
well.
find a man well. Okay.
It's the B.
Okay.
Sad reports indicated that a work email sent to a local man on Friday morning did not, in fact, find him well. Sources close to the situation said that Jason McKenzie, a data engineer, received the email shortly after arriving for work on Friday, and though the sender explicitly stated that it was their sincere hope that the message would find him well, it did not. Jason said, reading the email, No, I am not well. You do not find me well. You find me in pain and agony. You find me desolate and beseeched. I am not well.
That's funny. That's a good one. By the way, update on the story. I found it. The guy who is missing, who ran for Nassau County something, did not win. And his mom says, "My PD lives on in all our hearts, though."
Oh, no.
Even though he didn't win.
It's really sad, actually.
It's very sad.
I mean, in all likelihood, he drowned, right?
So, I mean, that's what it seems like. He's a Democrat, and the Republican won in Baldwin, New York, in Nassau County. There you go.
I mean, that
There's the
has to
update.
be, I mean, that said Long Island, so I mean, that's got to be, near the city, right? Yeah?
I don't know. I don't know where Nassau. I've heard of Nassau.
No, you've heard of Nassau in the Bahamas.
Why don't you? That's true, actually. That you're right. I was thinking of that. I was going to say, I'll look up where Nassau, New York is while you do the next story, but I don't even think I need to.
Okay, let's rapid fire a couple more here. American man films himself walking through Indian village's poop throwing festival.
Oh, I saw this. That's real.
Oh, no. Is it real?
It is indeed real.
No.
There's just the fact that there's a poop throwing festival is what's weird.
It is a local Diwali tradition celebrated by Hindus in the village of Gumatapura in the Indian state of Karnataka called Gorhaba. And the festival, it is manure from cows that is considered sacred in Hinduism to purify people.
But they just throw it at each other.
And they just throw it at each
So
other.
the news isn't that the festival exists, because that's existed for a long time. The news is that some guy from America or the West went through with the cameras like, look at this. And now we all know about it.
Now we all know about it.
Okay.
Aren't you glad you're Christian? For multiple reasons. Okay, let's go ahead and do one final one. 5650?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Unpaid air traffic controller now just deliberately sending all planes to Duluth, Minnesota for laughs.
I think that might be the B.
That sounds like
the B.
By the way, just since we're out of time, Nassau County is on Long Island. So you're right. It is right by New York City.
Okay. Good to know.
Now you know. All
Said
right,
Long
thanks.
Island, so.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back with more. We got Sergeant Thomas Becker coming up next on The Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Has your child swallowed your medicine, your laundry detergent, your nail polish remover? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you inhaled paint thinner, glue, pesticides? Call the Poison Helpline. Have a question about a dose, a fume, something your kid just drank? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The president sends a message. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. He's urging Senate Republicans again to terminate the filibuster rule, allowing a simple majority to pass bills, including a stopgap measure to reopen government.
And we would be back to work within 10 minutes after that vote took place, and lots of other good things would happen. And it doesn't make any sense that a Republican would not want to do that.
President Trump rejecting concerns about Democrats doing the same thing in the future, predicting that Democrats will do it anyway, even if Republicans don't. Democrats in Congress still pushing for an extension of Obamacare subsidies, not just the promise of a future vote on that issue. On day 38 of the shutdown, the first phase of flight reductions underway at 40 major U.S. airports aimed at reducing pressure on air traffic control staffing with the impact impact on travelers spreading.
Our flight was supposed to depart at 5, and now we're not leaving out and won't get to our destination until about 11 a.m.
This is not good. But I think we're hoping there'll be some resolution to this that will be acceptable to everybody.
I would say it's definitely frustrating. We just don't know.
More than 800 flights canceled so far today with delays, now topping 2,400. A legal fight over food stamp assistance not over yet. The Trump administration appealing a judge's order to fully fund that program for November. They had been working on partial benefits from contingency funds, which aren't enough to cover the whole month. The plaintiffs argue, though, other funds can be used. The president's comments on the shutdown coming during a meeting with Hungary's prime minister.
We're going to be talking trade. We're going to be talking a little bit of Russia, Ukraine.
There's some tension over Hungary's continued reliance on Russian energy. Cornell University just announcing a deal to restore federal funding and end investigations of the Ivy League school by accepting the Trump administration's interpretation of civil rights laws, while Cornell says still upholding the university's academic freedom. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-895-1414. That's 800-895-1414. 800-895-1414.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our bouncing temperatures continue, but we are about to bounce into the deep freeze, though certainly not this afternoon. 71, partly sunny and windy. Tonight, clear skies, 45 for the overnight low. Saturday, partly sunny, couple of spot showers, windy, 65. Saturday night, a couple of snow flurries and 35. Sunday, sunny, just plain cold on Sunday and breezy, 42. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Don't freeze as it gets colder. If your furnace isn't working, Air Comfort Service can get you back in your comfort zone fast with a service call for only $99. Get your furnace serviced. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Oh, yeah, this is the moment you have been waiting for.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
Annie's out. Ryan and Brad are in.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
This is the Mannie Frey Show.
I was looking into it. 3/4 of these people will see their healthcare premiums double. Live in states where you won in the last election. I mean, even here in Florida has the highest number of residents on Obamacare in the country.
And I'm saying we can fix it, Nora.
You have helped end these government shutdowns in the past when they came about, and you did it by bringing.
I'm very good at it,
you
but I'm
brought
not going to do it by. I'm not going to do it by extortion. I'm not going to do it by being extorted by the Democrats who have lost their way. There's something wrong with these people.
So then what happens on November 15th when the troops don't get a paycheck?
Schumer is a basket case, and he has nothing to lose. He's become, I just left Japan, he's become a kamikaze pilot.
Sounds like it's not going to get solved, the shutdown.
It's going to get solved, yeah. Oh, it's going to get solved.
How?
We'll get it solved. Eventually, they're going to have to vote.
You're saying the Democrats will capitulate?
I think they have to. And if they don't vote, that's their problem. Now, I happen to agree with something else. I think we should do the nuclear option. This is a totally different nuclear, by the way. It's called ending the filibuster.
There will never be another president like Donald Trump. That guy has made news all week for saying, hey, you know what? I think it's time to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate, which would make legislation easier to pass for anybody, but right now for Republicans. And he said it in such a way that it was not even the main point of the interview. It wasn't like he came out and said, I have an official statement on this big thing that needs to be addressed. He was just talking with Norah O'Donnell, and we had to play. This is like the third time we've played that clip because that's where he first said it. I think that was Sunday.
Yep.
And
60 minutes.
He said that to Norah O'Donnell, and you can hear it's not even really the point of the question. He just sort of gets around to it and says, I'm doing a ton of media, because you know that he's going to talk to everybody all the time. Every single day we come to the studio here on the Andy Frey Show, noon to 3, and we look and see that there's a press conference happening either from Carolyn Leavitt, which is for the White House, or it's from Donald Trump himself.
There was one today.
See, I didn't even know that, and I'm saying this.
Yeah.
So there was one today apparently from Donald Trump before the show?
Yep, before the show. He was meeting with, was it Uzbekistan?
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's meeting with a lot of the sort of
the stand
Eastern,
countries.
yeah.
So Middle Asia.
Middle Asia. So, yeah, he's doing a lot of foreign policy stuff right now because the government's closed. There's not a whole lot he can do with Congress. He can do stuff with executive action, but he's already done a lot of that. And so he has a conference yesterday where he, again, pretty big news, working with multiple pharmaceutical companies to lower prices on, specifically yesterday, it was about those GLP-1s, those semaglutides. So that's big news. And you probably, unless you're listening very closely, I mean, if you listen to the show, you probably know it, but the vast majority of Americans will not even know that that happened because there's always so much happening. I guess it's sort of the product of his own making, where when you talk to the media that much, you're so accessible that when you make news, it's like part of the mass of other news, and you don't even really notice that it's happening. But back to this filibuster issue. This has been a big deal this week. It rocks Washington whenever anybody talks about this. And then we've done 2 polls on it this week alone to see if your opinion has shifted. And spoiler, it kind of didn't. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the turnout of the polls was, but it was split where some people were saying, yeah, get rid of it entirely. So others were saying, yes, get rid of it just for the shutdown, which is where you and I landed, just because, again, I'm a big budget guy. You have to do something about the budget, and Democrats will not work with you ever on the budget. So if you have Republicans that are willing to cut the amount of spending, which is a big if, then that's the only way that you're ever going to rein it in that way. That's why I came up with my creative proposal.
Yeah, I mean, the other side of that is, too, the debt goes up because people are like, what's in it for me to vote yes on this bill? So you give to get.
Yeah.
And so you're giving something that isn't yours, the taxpayer dollar, to other people so that you can get them to give you their taxpayer dollars.
And so Trump this week has been meeting over and over with the senators, GOP senators anyway, trying to convince them that it's time to get rid of the filibuster. And his big argument is not just, it'll help us get things done. That's the argument of every president. It'll help me get things done if you get rid of the filibuster. And the senators usually say, no, I've been in the minority. I don't want to get rid of it because then it takes away all power from the minority. But that's the argument that he's making to them. That's one of them. But the other big argument that he's making is that the minute they get power, they're going to get rid of it. So why wouldn't you just go ahead and do it now so that we can get things passed ahead of time before they do it? And if you don't believe him, producer Brad has been a gumshoe about this and looked up what Democrats have been saying in recent history. Here's AOC in 2022.
I believe that President Biden should entertain expansion of the Supreme Court. I believe that he should forcefully come out in ending the filibuster of the United States Senate. I believe that he should call on Congress to repeal the Hyde Amendment. And I also believe that Congress, we have the possibility, when we are strengthened by the repeal of the filibuster, or even the change to a talking filibuster or a standing filibuster, in doing so, we can codify Roe, we can codify, and all of the other cases that the Supreme Court indicated that they would threaten. We can codify same-sex marriage. We can codify the right to contraception. We can codify interracial marriage. We can do it. But we can only do it. We can only do it if we're not fighting with one hand tied behind our back, let alone 2. And so I think that right now we just need a fight. We need a fight. And we need to show and demonstrate to the American people that then when they vote to give Democrats power, we will use it to the fullest extent possible to defend everybody's civil, economic, and human rights.
Well, she just said it pretty plainly there. I mean, you don't get much more plain than what she's saying. She not only says that they should end the filibuster, but what they would do with the filibuster ended, and they almost did it at the moment she was speaking about it. She's in the House.
Yeah.
So she's not in the Senate, although we'll see what happens in a couple cycles.
It's important to note that the reason that they didn't do it was because of two Democratic senators, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Both of which are not in the Senate any longer.
Yeah. So they will do this. It's not just AOC either. But she does say a lot of what they would do. They'd codify Roe versus Wade, same-sex marriage, which is already legal, but it was done through the Supreme Court. So she's saying they'd do it through Congress and make it an actual law. That's what not judicial tyranny, but judicial activism looks like, is when they basically make up laws like they did with that one. But Roe versus Wade, now these are the things, now I don't think Republicans would touch same-sex marriage at this point, but I do think that the Roe versus Wade would be really a pendulum you'd watch swing back and forth. If Republicans were in charge, they'd repeal it. If Democrats were in charge, they'd put it back. It would just go back and forth over and over and over again.
But once it was repealed, the Democrats would do whatever they want, and then putting it back doesn't undo what was done during the Democrats' repeal of the
I agree.
filibuster.
I'm just saying that's what would happen, is you'd have a lot of things like this that would become law under Democrats, and they would become not law or a different law under Republicans over and over. And that's an argument against repealing the filibuster, is that the pendulum swing, if you think it's pretty wide now, I mean, all of what you're experiencing with the extremes in America, it would become law.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Well, and the whole idea of the filibuster is that it's the saucer that cools the tea. You don't get wild swings like what you're saying, but you also have to come together and find common ground on issues. And I think the reason the filibuster is such a roadblock anymore is because as a country we're so divided on political issues.
There's no common ground.
There's not a lot of middle ground whatsoever.
No. So nothing gets done, and so they go, well, then we have to get something done. Should we get rid of the filibuster? And that's where Trump's at right now. If you think it's just AOC that's saying this, though, it's not. It was basically the whole Senate. It was, what was there, 51 senators, Democrat senators at the time, and so two of them, Manchin and Sinema, were able to sink it below 50, and so it didn't happen. But there were then 49 U.S. senators that were willing to get rid of the filibuster at that time. I mean, 49. And now with the GOP in charge, and they have 53 senators, it doesn't look like they have maybe even half of that. Excuse me. So you look back and you go, well, Democrats really are willing to do this in ways that Republicans are not. You go back to Obama. So it's not just AOC. You know, this is a bunch of senators and the President of the United States in 2020 saying this.
By guaranteeing that every American citizen has equal representation in our government, including the American citizens who live in Washington, D.C. and in Puerto Rico. They're Americans. By ending some of the partisan gerrymandering, so that all voters have the power to choose their politicians, not the other way around. And if all this takes eliminating the filibuster, another Jim Crow relic, in order to secure the God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do.
Oh, the filibuster's a Jim Crow relic. Oh, I guess then we should get rid of it under Trump, right, President Obama? I mean, that's what you said. So this is President Obama. That's in 2020, him saying that. No, that can't be right. You labeled that 2020, Brad, but I don't think that's actually 2020. That's got to be before that, because he was not president in 2020.
That aired in 2020.
Did it really?
Yes.
So that was going into Biden's
was part of
presidency?
yeah.
That shocks me. Wow, he wasn't even in charge saying that? That's very recent. But he did outline what Democrats will do if they get rid of the filibuster and they get power back, which is a big question too, is will they ever actually have both chambers and the presidency? Yeah, I mean, will they ever? Yes, they will. But how soon will they is the question. They will add states. They will add D.C., and they will add Puerto Rico, and therefore they will add senators. That's the only reason they're doing it. They would just want to add senators so that they could always control that chamber. It's a smart move. I don't know if it's good for the country, but it's a smart move to retain power. The other thing that they would do is pack the courts. But there you get to the point where you go, okay, well, what would happen when Republicans got back? Well, if they had any spine about them, which a lot of times they don't, they would also pack the court back the other direction. So you'd end up with like 200 judges on the Supreme Court after about 30 years because they'd both just keep doing it, and that's no good. You also have probably a whole bunch more states because the Republicans get in charge and go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to add American Samoa, and we're going to add Manitoba, and we're going to add whoever else is willing to come on board who would be more GOP senators. But then the problem is that's such a big swing that you don't know if Democrats added 4 senators all of a sudden, Republicans aren't taking back that chamber easily for a long time.
Ever, yeah.
And so that's what you get into when you get into this debate, and it gets really thorny. And a lot of people in our chat and listeners here were saying, no, don't do this. Even though it would solve temporary problems, it would create some pretty big long-term problems. But that's where you kind of go, well, what about if you just got rid of it for budget issues, which is where me and Brad were saying, and there's a lot of debate there. So it's a good debate. It's one that comes up pretty often. The problem is it's probably going to happen. I'll conclude on this, and then we'll move on to some stuff about Chris Farley. But it's probably going to happen at some point. They probably will get rid of the filibuster, and maybe it's piece by piece because that's what it's been so far with judges and so forth, and that's been both parties. It started with Harry Reid and Democrats, but it's been both parties now. At what point does somebody actually pull that trigger or pull the blanket back or whatever you want to call it? Because the party that does could have a tremendous advantage in passing legislation that benefits that party at that moment. That's the truth. That's the truth. If Republicans pass it right now and they pass voter ID and they do a bunch of stuff that sort of curtails possible fraud, or they limit it to more voting day instead of voting month and voting months, these things probably would benefit Republicans. Conversely, Democrats could do the opposite that would benefit Democrats. So it's who's going to do it first. And ultimately, as we started with Trump, that is his whole argument, that they're going to do it. You might as well do it now because they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to do it.
And they're not just going to do it to get some things passed that are hard to get passed. They're going to do it to pass the most extreme things that they can because they know that will never get passed any other way.
And to retain power.
Which will lock them into power.
Yes, it absolutely will. And that's where we're at. Unfortunately, when you get this polarized, you have such limited middle ground. You get to these places where you won't negotiate with me at all. Fine, I'll just do this without you. And then it becomes like, whoa, and you get into, I don't want to use the word civil war.
Well, that's how, whenever you get to a point where people they don't see any other way.
It's what happens.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
Well, that's what drove the South to secede. Like, if you go back, Lincoln wasn't
even working on anything.
He wasn't even in office yet. And they said, well, if this guy gets in, we're hosed, so we're just going to leave now. And then the Civil War.
Well, it's the Mannie Frey Show. We're diving deep here on Friday.
Let's talk about Chris Farley.
We literally are talking about Chris Farley next. Are you a big fan of Wayne's World? There's been some weird old clips resurface of him explaining some things about Wayne's World. That, yes, this is balance, right? We start with this one in this hour, and now we're going to go to some fun stuff. So stay here. And then, again, I mentioned Sergeant Thomas Becker. He was on Wiggins America this weekend. Fantastic interview. We're going to bring that to you at 1:30 or thereabouts, so stick around for all of that next on the Mannie Frey Show.
All right, you pick them. You don't have to take my word for it. Lots of 5-star reviews out there for my friends at Rhino Shield because, like me, there are a lot of satisfied Rhino Shield customers. And what does that mean? Well, maybe you're satisfied because it's exactly the color and beautiful, vivid color that you wanted, right, with the trim and all of that. They can do in different colors, just like you would with regular paint, but it lasts for so long. Maybe you're happy because you're not out there scraping or having to pay somebody to scrape and paint every 4 or 5 years. That's what happens with regular paint. Not Rhino Shield. Goes on thick, waterproofs your house completely, protects it from the rays of the sun, gives you an insulation factor. It's fantastic. They've used it on HGTV on unpainted brick, block, aluminum, steel, hardy cement board. It's fantastic on all of it. Call them today for a free evaluation, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com.
Are you nearing retirement and wondering if you're truly prepared? Sue Thomas here. And when it comes to retirement planning, keep in mind Financial and Tax Architects, FTA, has helped families all across St. Louis plan to retire with clarity and confidence. FTA specializes in creating tax-efficient retirement strategies, showing you how and when to claim Social Security, and building an income plan designed to last as long as you do. Now, they have a Retirement Planning 101 class. It is eye-opening. It's 2.5 hours. It's offered on campuses of colleges throughout the area. No cost or obligation, but you're going to learn how to avoid costly mistakes, reduce unnecessary taxes, and make your money work smarter in retirement. Call 314-888-5101 or visit fta-ria.com to reserve your seat today. Space fills quickly, so don't wait. Take that first step toward a more confident retirement.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range. It's the Annie Frey Show.
Well, I found this clip of Chris Farley, and I'm going to try to tie it in. I'm going to come up with a reason why I'm talking about this, but ultimately I'm going to tell you ahead of time.
You just want to play, Chris?
I just want to play it. But this weekend,
it's Friday.
Did you know that a St. Louisan is hosting Saturday Night Live?
Oh, what's her name?
Nikki Glazer.
Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't know she was hosting, but
she's going to host the show. I don't think she ever has before, and I apologize to her or whoever is listening if she has, and I just didn't know it. But I go through phases with Saturday Night Live. Well, I'll watch it quite a bit. I'm in a phase right now where I'm watching it quite a bit. Don't know why. It's not any better or worse than it ever has been. It's just I'm just in a phase where I really like sketch comedy. I like writing sketch comedy. I like doing sketch comedy. I was in a sketch comedy group for a little while and after college, and it was so fun. It was so fun. But anyway, Chris Farley, we're like close enough in age, Brad.
Oh, for sure.
You were a Wayne's World fan.
Yeah, I liked. Like, my favorite era of Saturday Night Live was the Chris Farley, Mike Myers, David Spade, that group.
So that's
Adam Sandler.
And Adam Sandler and Chris Farley kind of crossed over between the Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey era and the newer era of David Spade and Norm Macdonald. There was a little crossover there, but those guys and Rob Schneider's another one. They kind of crossed with both. So there was a kind of an era there with all those guys, but there wasn't a lot between. For like Dana Carvey and Norm Macdonald, for instance, they didn't cross paths a lot. They knew each other, but they didn't cross paths a lot. Anyway, long story is Wayne's World was awesome. I used to love that movie so much growing up that I think I probably could have quoted the whole thing at some point in my life. I don't know if I still could. But Wayne's World 2 was also funny, but not nearly as funny. Like Anchorman. The original was amazing.
Yes.
Anchorman 2 was funny, but didn't make any sense. It was kind of the same with Wayne's
just
World.
kind of left it.
Ethan, come in here. Generational gap. He just groaned.
Yeah, I heard. Talk about Wayne's World.
We got to find out if you've seen Wayne's World before we air this clip. He's 24 years old. 25. Have you ever seen Wayne's World? Take your time. It's not like you're on the radio or anything.
Hold on, I forgot my water.
I'll be right back. My throat's a little
I have
scratchy.
not seen Wayne's World, but I have seen both the Anchormans.
So have you ever seen any of the sketches of Wayne's World?
I've seen some of the sketches.
Okay, but you've never seen the movie.
No,
So
I didn't know there was a movie.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! There's an amazing Wayne's World movie, but I wondered it's very generational if you had to be Gen X millennial to really soak that movie in. But anyway, there's this scene where Chris Farley's in it, and he was famous at the time, but he hadn't done a lot of movies yet. So he was on SNL, but hadn't done movies. And if you recall, it's where Wayne and Garth walk out, and they're looking for Mr. Big, the record producer.
Yeah.
And Chris Farley's standing there, and he's like a security guard, and they go, do you know where he's going next? And he's like, yeah, he's going to go up. And he mentions St. Louis here, too.
Yeah.
He's going to go through St. Louis, up to Chicago, and then over to Detroit.
Doing his Chris Farley
doing the things. And so here's that clip if you don't remember it.
He's going across the country right now to look for new acts to sign to his label. Next stop is St. Louis, and he's going to come back through Chicago on his way to Detroit.
And he moves his hand.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You know, for a security guard, he had an awful lot of information, don't you think?
All right. So that's the end of that clip. Well, if you remember, and I know you're not watching it, you're listening to it, Chris Farley, when he says Detroit, he points in one direction and then he goes, ugh, like he changes the complete direction that he's looking. And he's this resurfaced recently. And for whatever reason, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. He's on Jay Leno, and Jay asked him about this. I guess it was one of his first movie appearances. And he's like, what'd you think about being in Wayne's World? And this is what he said.
Coneheads, airheads. So Wayne's World, too. Now, you were the security guy in the first one?
Yeah, security guard.
Well, that was kind of...
That was a scary experience.
Was that your first movie?
Yeah, that was my first movie. I screwed up, too, at one point.
What'd you do?
They told me to point into the camera when I was given directions. You go through St. Louis, back down through Chicago on your way to Detroit. And I pointed off the wrong way, and I had to, like, scoot it back into the camera frame. But they kept it. It was genius. I don't know what.
So yeah, that was an accident. That thing in the movie where he points in the wrong direction and then he just moves. They were like, yeah, we're just going to leave that in the movie. I just thought that was great because how many times I've seen that. I mean, that's one of those movies I watched probably 100 times. And then it never heard little facts like that about that.
When they're at that concert and they got backstage passes and they're showing every time I do anything now that in media and I get a pass to do something, I always joke with like holding the pass up and showing everybody as I walk by. I did this at the NASCAR race.
You probably did it at the Trump rally too, didn't you?
Yes.
When you had the press pass?
Press pass. But you got to be careful at the Trump rally because that was still the enemy of the people press.
Oh, that's right. When you guys did that, the press was not looked on kindly.
Right, and he would always point to the box of where the press was, and he'd be like, there, and the whole crowd would look at you and go, boo! So I'm up there like,
no, we're cool.
I got the hat on, see?
Well, anyway, there you go. If you're a fan of Wayne's World, now you know that was a accidental scene that made it into the movie. We're going to take a short break and come right back with Sergeant Thomas Becker. We are going into Veterans Day week. And so on Tuesday, we're actually not going to be here for the show. We're going to be out in Edwardsville in the Veterans Day Parade. We invite you to come out to that. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Veterans Day on Tuesday. So we'll be there. We hope to see you there. But in the meantime, I did this interview with Sergeant Thomas Becker last weekend, and it's just great. He was in Vietnam. He has a book about it, and I encourage you to stick around and listen to this. It will move you. Be right back.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family-owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants, so
We called Leaf Home Water Solutions.
they came to our home and did a free water test and gave us the analysis right away.
We were shocked at what we saw.
They found heavy metals like iron and copper.
Our own tap water was putting our health at risk, but Leaf Home Water Solutions made it easy to get safer water from every tap and hose. A whole home solution.
They have more than 250 product combinations and designed a system that fits our needs and budget. The installation took less than a day.
With Leaf Home Water Solutions, our water is safer and healthier. When we drink, when we cook, when we shower, even when we garden.
We feel better about our health.
Thanks to Leaf Home Water Solutions.
Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
Mark Cox here for the Range St. Louis West. Right now, they're giving away a free basic handgun skills class. All you have to do is register for your chance to win. TheRangeSTL.com/971. I've taken this class. It's ideal for beginners. They have expert instruction. It's available in a women's only class if that's what you're interested in. The normal cost is $135. You can win the class right now at TheRangeSTL.com/971.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: will America ever have a balanced budget again? Yes or no? Ryan came up with a plan to balance the budget back in the first hour, and if you want to listen to that, you can go back and rewind on the Odyssey app and rewind and listen to that segment again. But don't do that until you've finished listening to the show. Then you can go back and listen to it again. Right now, we're wanting to know what you think. Will we have a balanced budget again? It's a yes or no question. You can jump on Annie's YouTube page and vote in the poll. The time right now is 1:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
This is the Mannie Frey Show with Annie out for just one day today. She'll be back on Monday. Brad and myself and Ethan are filling in. And like he said, Brad just said, if you want to hear the plan to balance the budget, I come up with a very creative plan that I think could work. And I ran it by you, and lots of people called in, and that was a lot of fun. But, what's the next step? I think starts here on a Friday on the Annie Frey Show here on November 7th. And then tomorrow, I think probably the White House needs to take a look at this, make it to the Oval Office. And then probably by Monday, states start voting, Convention of States. That's the time
there's not a lot to debate about this. You go in there and you say, hey, we're going to pay off your debt. Mm-hmm. You accept that. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to balance the budget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to make that an amendment.
Yeah. Speaker of the House probably has to take it up by Tuesday, I would think. So it'll be an exciting weekend. We're not kidding at all. But I shouldn't kid, because we're going into a really good interview here with Sergeant Thomas Becker. So I interviewed him last week on Wiggins America on my weekend show, and we'll do so again tomorrow on Wiggins America. We did a 2-part series with him, and that'll conclude tomorrow. But the first part was just a fantastic interview going into Veterans Day. And I wanted to play that back here. So here is Sergeant Thomas Becker,
I'm
author.
about halfway through your book right now, and now I've had a chance to finish your book, of course, which is called Sergeant Becker, A Vietnam Story, 82nd Airborne Division. You are in Vietnam, and tell us the years again.
1968 and 1969. I just missed the 68 Tet Offensive, which was the height of the war.
Okay.
And in fact, my unit that I joined, my battalion had 85% casualties during the Tet Offensive.
My gosh.
They'd been there 3 months before me. So I was a replacement sergeant. They ran out of sergeants, of course. And so when I got there, I think there were 24 men left in the company out of over 100. And 2 of them they brought, when I got there, they were coming off the helicopters. 2 of them were in body bags.
How did they decide that you were just a sergeant?
I went to sergeant school after AIT, Advanced Intensive Training. I volunteered for it in order to stay out of the war as long as I could. And then I went to demolition school, and then I went to airborne school. all just to stay out of the war. I didn't want any part of this.
So going into, like I said, we're talking to you going into Veterans Day here because you are a veteran, and of course I'm sure I'm among many who are saying thank you for your service for this time of year especially.
Appreciate that.
What we were talking off air. Why did you have to write the book? I mean, there's some quotes I actually could pull from here that I wanted to ask you about, but I'll ask you that first.
It's just too good a story. I just had to tell it. It's like, how could someone be so lucky?
Yeah.
These kind of things don't happen to most people. And, people have asked me, how were you able to do this? And it's like, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
It's either do what I was supposed to do or lay down and pound the ground. I mean, those are really my only choices I had.
Well, I mean, it's a story of perseverance, not just in the war, but since the war.
Yes.
You start at the end here. I'm going to read a little bit. I hope that's okay. I'm reading your book
Sure.
to you. It's been 54 years since I left Vietnam. That would be, 56 now, right?
56 now, yes.
You wrote this 2 years ago. And then I skip ahead here. I built a heavy, thick wall in the back of my mind to conceal these troubling memories. I had terrible PTSD when I came home. I had 3 to 5 nightmares every night for over 3 years. Then slowly they diminished.
Time heals wounds.
How about now?
Oh, much better.
How much do you think about it now?
Every day.
Do you think about any people in particular?
Michelle.
Yeah.
It just tore me up that I could not adopt her, that they wouldn't let me.
Can you tell that story a little bit just for context?
Well, I reached a very low point mentally after I'd been in the war. Oh, I think I only had 6 weeks left or so. And by that time, instead of one squad to take care of, I think by that time I had 6 because of loss of sergeants. And I lost one of my best friends, and it really hurt. And then after that, this is hard.
Yeah.
I almost had my throat cut one night while I was sleeping, and I was very fast and very quick, and the guy trying to cut my throat was moving slowly because he was trying to be quiet and all that, so I managed to stab him instead with my knife, and I stabbed him many, many times, and it just messed me up. I was at that. I think after that, I just wanted to kill almost anybody that looked at me wrong. Just in such a terrible, terrible frame of mind. And so the captain, realizing this, sent me off to the nearest battalion base camp. Wasn't even a division, it was a battalion. I don't even know what battalion, it wasn't ours. For 10 days of getting my head back together. And there was no psychologist or psychiatrist to help me. He just gave me 10 days off, which is really strange. That's a long time.
10 days?
10 days. I mean, give you a 3-day pass is one thing, but 10 days. And he didn't say why or anything, just sent me there, and I was supposed to report for a meeting every day, and that was it. The rest of the time was by myself. And I finally figured out why. But I met this in the town next to the base camp. I saw this little orphan, about 5 years old. She was half French, half Vietnamese, and she was just the sweetest, most beautiful little angel you'd ever want to meet, And I couldn't, I quickly realized, since she was playing all by herself every day, I did this for 9 days in a row, spent time with hours every afternoon. I spent until it was time for her to eat dinner and go to bed. They rang the bell. So I couldn't understand why this little girl was always smiling and always singing and so happy when she was obviously ostracized from all the other children because she was different. They had their own racial problems. And it really helped me because, here I was just full of hatred. And I thought, why isn't she mad? She shouldn't be happy. So I kind of, I kind of had an epiphany, shall we say, and it that was what brought me back to reality. And so I owed her so much.
I want to ask you for advice. I want to ask you to speak to anybody who has ever just experienced. I mean, I don't know anybody who's experienced the kind of trauma you're talking about. So you're the best person to speak on this topic. But people have, trauma of their own kinds. We throw that word around so much anymore that it almost doesn't mean anything. But I'm talking about real trauma. What you're saying is extreme. It's extreme, soul-wrenching trauma. And it's not just that story you just told. I mean, I read the book. There's a lot more to what you did in those 2 years, especially.
Yeah.
What do you say to somebody who comes up to you and says, "Look, I'm looking to heal," and it may be a completely different circumstance, but they want to heal from something that's happened in their past? What do you say?
Number one, stop thinking about your own stinking self. Start thinking of helping someone else. Sounds crazy. When you help others, you help yourself. That would be the number one thing. I sign all my books. Life is not much worth living without love and courage and honor. And you need all three to get through life, not just through a war. Honor is really about respect. You have to respect yourself, or nobody else is going to respect you. Courage, we need courage every day to do the things we need to do. And if you don't have any kind of love in your heart, well, there's really no sense living. Love is what makes a difference. So by helping others, you get that love, and that makes everything better.
Selflessness.
Yes.
Because then you can't focus on yourself if you're focused on others or God, or just not focused on yourself.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be anything big, just little things. You see an old lady trying to get 50-pound bag of dog food in her car at the grocery store. You go over there and you help her. It doesn't have to be somebody you know. It's probably better somebody you don't know. Today, I'm driving here and there was a lot of traffic, and some guy wanted to make a left turn across 2 lanes of traffic, and I could see he'd been there a while, so I stopped and I held my hand to say, "No, not yet," and then motioned him on, let him go. Little thing, made me feel good. All those little, you need to do that every day.
That seems like a little thing, but letting somebody across 2 lanes of traffic.
But I didn't want him to get creamed by the guys who weren't stopping. Yeah. So I held my right hand up. Nope, not yet.
That's probably a great lesson for all of us, just with traffic in general.
Yes.
Because I just about lost it yesterday leaving here. But
we're always in too big a hurry, so we need to, help others. We're all in the same boat. So, just because you're in a car and you can't see the person doesn't mean they're not a good person, doesn't mean that they don't need help.
There's so much I want to say, so much I want you to know. When I finally make it home.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Let's support our first responders. Inter Responder Rescue's ATF raffle. Prizes include top shelf bourbon, a lit cigar lounge VIP night, and a CZ P10 pistol from the range. Text responder to 33100 to enter today.
looks like we are definitely out of the massive heat waves that we received this year. But any week when it's 90 degrees during the day and 90 degrees at night is, in St. Louis, the humidity is not comfortable, and our bills do go up. With that being said, we're coming up in the winter months, and this is the time that you want to get your furnace looked at and checked. It's inexpensive to have it looked at for your peace of mind. And this is also the time of the year where you'll hear during your furnace checkups that you have a bad heat exchanger or you need a new furnace. Call me if you hear that for a second opinion. You'll be happy you did. And it's one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, Bart Inman, now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. And God bless.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
This is Kyle Bush with Krantz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. How many times have you changed jobs over the years? If you're like many professionals, you may have left behind one or more 401ks. Unwatched, unmanaged, and potentially your largest retirement asset. Just because it's out of sight doesn't mean it should be out of mind. Let's make sure it's working as hard for your future as you are. Your goals, our mission, start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Thank you for the comments, everybody who's listening and can comment on the stream. You, of course, can always, we have the text line open, 314-241-9797. I'll have to actually pull up that program so I can see your text, but it is there, 314-241-9797. If you ever want to respond to anything going on in the show, really at any time, that's there. And, of course, the live stream is always happening. So thanks, everybody, for talking with us as we were playing that interview. So that was Sergeant Thomas Becker. His book is A Vietnam Story. And I interviewed him last weekend on Wiggins America, which is 7 to 8 on Saturday mornings, and then replays Sunday nights 7 to 8 also. We are going to do part 2 of that interview tomorrow. And my plan tomorrow is to ask him questions about specific stories. We got to do a couple there, but we ended up talking a little bit more broadly about healing and, just PTSD and time in Vietnam in general. But there are a couple of specific stories that I want to talk about with Sergeant Becker, and we'll do that tomorrow, probably toward the end of the show. I'd say 7:45-ish if you want to tune in and hear it for the first time tomorrow morning. It'll play back Sunday night. Again, the book is A Vietnam Story, Sergeant Thomas Becker. I'm going to play a clip here from, weird transition, Jon Stewart, because he's saying something that in the transcript, so I haven't actually heard this clip. Brad pulled it, and I said, that looks like a pretty good clip. Let's talk about that. It's him talking about platforming people and, I guess, generally, how do we get along? Is that safe to say, Brad? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I've got people in my family that are to the right of Attila the Hun. And when people tell me, like, how can you platform that person on your show? I go, I platform my uncle every Thanksgiving. And by the way, I love him. He's a 3-dimensional human being who has qualities that I really admire, things about him. And we've lost that. We've lost the ability to love people because we litmus test at every point, in every single moment.
Brad, is he describing you in that clip?
I don't think so, no. When I listen to that, he describes people I know. But I have never cut anybody out of my life on a litmus test. That seems so petty. And like he was saying in that clip, he said we're 3-dimensional people. He's saying that there's lots of aspects to people, and it's a lot more than what their political beliefs are, what their religious beliefs are, what all these other things are. One of the things that I always try to remember and I always try to keep in my mind is it doesn't matter who this person is. They're created in the image of God and therefore worthy of my respect. And so I don't cut people out of my life, especially family members. You know, it seems like such a low place to be. And really, in all honesty, it's an immoral stance to take. Is if this person disagrees with me, you are not taking the moral high ground by cutting them out of your life. You are not teaching them a lesson other than you are spiteful, little, and angry. You're not teaching them any lesson that you're trying to get them to get.
There's a difference between disliking somebody and
No,
hating
for sure.
them. Because there are people in this world that I dislike, you know, and just choose not to hang out with much because I just don't like them. And that usually has nothing to do with politics.
Right.
I just don't like being around them. I mean, just somebody who's like super, super negative all the time.
Yeah.
They're harder to be around than people who are not. And that's like deep stuff. I'm not trying to make that political. I'm just saying. But it's when you cut people out of your life for their ideologies, just because you have a different ideology, that's when it becomes pretty problematic. And it causes this polarization in a way that we're seeing in the country where you do end up saying, well, that person's pretty much like Hitler. And you're like, no,
well, hold on.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, calm down. I don't think that person you're talking about is like Hitler, partially because I don't think you've studied World War II enough to be making that phrase. But second, the things that you're referring to, you're just sort of, it's like they're leading with, and I'm talking not any certain side of the aisle, although the Hitler thing certainly is the left does that more. But when you say that, it's as if you're leading with an emotion and you're trying to find some sort of fact to put behind it, and you're finding pretty bad facts to do.
Right. Well, and the other side of that thing is, too, it's like if that's how you feel with somebody who disagrees with you, if you feel like you are being like personally attacked because they disagree with your political stance, your cultural stance, whatever it is, you have too far internalized that stance. You've made that stance too much of your identity. Like, I'm a Republican is not a core part of my identity. I'm a Democrat shouldn't be a core part of your identity. That is what you believe politically. That is not part of who you are.
Well, that's why we refer a lot of times, that very reason is why when we refer to the left as having a religion, because that is that identity.
It gets into that.
If you are on the right politically and your religion is the right, that's also a problem.
That is a huge problem.
If your religion is something that is temporal at all, that ends up being a problem for you. It causes these kind of things. And the other problem is once you acknowledge it, like let's say that you are somebody who is on the left or right and who's listening to Jon Stewart say that, or you're listening to this program right now, and you hear that and you go, yeah, I acknowledge that that's a problem. You typically don't really know how to solve it because you have to change your whole core of who you are to solve that issue. And that is not easy to do.
Yeah, to me, the way that you do it is to look at this person that you are having so much problem with, like the real person that is going to be at your Thanksgiving table, and realize who they are and who they've always been as you were growing up. You know,
Thanksgiving is going to save America.
It has to.
That's the kind of thing we really do need, is people to sit down with people they disagree with and just listen and then walk away, possibly still vehemently disagreeing and still acknowledging that you love the person or at least care about their well-being enough to not run away and villainize them. There is one time I can think in my entire life that somebody's political views became such an issue for me that I really couldn't be around them much. I didn't hate them. I just couldn't do it. And it's because I had a roommate. And it was before I was married. It was a guy who I still love to this day, but I don't see him a whole lot. And he was this is my era of the George W. Bush administration. I was just out of college. And he was my roommate, and he hated George W. Bush so bad that it was like he lived and breathed it. And I was pretty young, so I wasn't really good at arguing politics yet. I don't think I was bad at it, but I wasn't as polished as now, having done this for, well, in certain parts of radio for 20 years, but this part of radio for 7. And he would want to, I'd come home from work or whatever, and I was working in TV at the time. It wasn't political or anything. I'd come home from work, and that dude would be ready to argue me in politics.
Oh, man.
And I was like, dude, I appreciate the argument. And I would say this sometimes. I'm like, I understand that you want to argue and debate, and I think debate generally is very good. I also am very tired. Just give me a break, man. And he just couldn't figure out those boundaries. So ultimately, It was not so much about the politics as about the boundaries that he was crossing that I just personally couldn't quite reconcile with him.
Man, it sounds like he just had a lot of frustration and needed some place to put that frustration, and you were the living embodiment of the Bush administration in his life.
That was tough. It was a tough place to be because you're home at that point. It was not a sanctuary.
But, and the other side of that is, and to our point in the conversation, he's the one that drove you away, and it wasn't because of anything other than he couldn't put away his feelings about the administration.
Well, that's the way I like to think about it. I don't know whether I was perfect in that. I probably got mad at him a few times over politics, I don't know that I was flawless, but I also know that I did not hate him. I know that for sure, and I still don't. But that's the only time I can come up with that I ever was like, maybe that did get in the way of our relationship. But I truly try not to do that. Anyway, this is the end of the second hour. We got a lot coming up. Ethan Sports and Local, of course, will be next. And then what did I miss in the last hour of the Mannie Frey Show?
Hi, Mark Cox with Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. You've been helping families for over 22 years with your guarantees, your buyers in waiting program, and you were telling me that between now and year end is a great time to sell. Can you share why?
Always good to see you. When it comes to timing, the spring and fall selling season have historically been the most active. However, due to raised home value and affordability, this market still has lots of sellers and buyers on the sidelines. Fact is, between now and year end is a great time to discuss the sale of your home. I have guaranteed sale program solutions for every situation, including instant multiple cash offers, 100% market value, or my trusted guarantee sale program, where I'll sell your home at our agreed upon price, or I will buy it myself.
Sounds like a plan, and the time is now. Call Gloria right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Great news. Corel Roofing is going to partner with Sergeant Sparkles to install Christmas lighting on your home this year. Mark Cox here. Who better to get up on your roof to install lights than a roofing company? But wait, there's more. While they're up there, if they see some minor damage or an issue that needs attention, they're going to do that minor repair at no charge to get you through the winter. That provides pretty amazing value to get a small problem fixed at no charge while you get ready for the Christmas season. Now's also a good time for that full roof inspection. If you didn't get around to getting your roof inspected after the storms earlier this year, this is the time to schedule that. Even if the weather's too cold to have the roof replaced, you will be first on the list when warmer weather comes around in early spring. Call Curtis at Corel Roofing. Schedule your Christmas light installation and your roof inspection right now. That's 314-222-9529 or CorelRoofingCo.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A new proposal on the Senate floor. Elisa Brady, Fox News.
I've spoken with my caucus.
And Democrats are offering a very simple compromise.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer proposing a one-year extension of Obamacare tax credits attached to an existing short-term spending bill to end the government shutdown, while setting up a bipartisan committee to negotiate on health care costs after the government reopens.
With this approach, we do not negotiate health care in the shutdown, as Leader Thune has maintained he wishes. And the American people get the tax credit extension they want.
But Montana Republican Senator Steve Daines just telling Fox,
we've got to solve this problem, but you can't shut the government down, use as leverage here to try to get this outcome.
Still saying Democrats should support a clean short-term bill to reopen government without any strings attached. President Trump still urging Senate Republicans to end the filibuster rule so a simple majority could do it. This as the shutdown ripple effects get worse at major airports, where the FAA ordered flight reductions to ease the pressure on air traffic control staffing.
Today, tomorrow, and Sunday, the agency is requiring the airlines to cut 4% of their schedule at 40 of the country's largest airports, and that number will gradually ramp up to 10% by the end of next week.
Fox Business's Grady Trimble at DC's Reagan National.
The airlines are refunding passengers who don't want to travel. If they want to cancel their flight, they can, and they'll get a full refund, even if they're not impacted by these cancellations. They're reassuring customers that the vast majority of them won't be affected by the cancellations, but the problem is the delays are still happening as well as the cancellations, so it adds a new wrinkle to the travel troubles.
So far today, more than 800 flights canceled around the country, delays now topping 3,000. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-895-1414. That's 800-895-1414. 800-895-1414.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our bouncing temperatures continue, but we are about to bounce into the deep freeze, though certainly not this afternoon. 71, partly sunny and windy. Tonight, clear skies, 45 for the overnight low. Saturday, partly sunny, couple of spot showers, windy, 65. Saturday night, a couple of snow flurries and 35. Sunday, sunny, just plain cold on Sunday and breezy, 42. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If you need a new furnace, get Carrier Cool Cash rebates and 0% financing so you'll be nice and cozy as the weather turns. For a free estimate on a new heating system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Oh, yeah, it is the moment you have been waiting for.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
Annie's out. Ryan and Brad are in.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
This is the Mannie Frey Show.
I will praise Nancy Pelosi. She had an incredible career for her party. I served under her speakership in my first term of Congress, and I'm very impressed at her ability to get things done. I wish we could get things done for our party like Nancy Pelosi was able to deliver for her party. So I wish her well in her retirement. But I would like to see people exit Washington a lot sooner rather than wait until their 80s.
Yeah, is that praise from Marjorie Taylor Greene for Pelosi or not?
Sounds like it, a little bit.
She's certainly praising the ability of
the way,
Pelosi to get things done.
The way she did her job. And no, I don't think anybody argues that, right? Like, she was very efficient.
She ruled with an iron fist.
Yeah.
And got everybody in line. And that's what's so hard about the Democrat Party right now is that they have so many
They're
factions.
still kind of like that.
I mean, Republicans do too. I'm not saying we don't
Yeah.
have factions in our party, but they have the far left, and the far left has the microphone. It's not just that they have, a certain faction. They have the attention
Yes.
of the party.
They're the loudest for sure.
And even if they're not the majority of the party in the House anyway, you hear from AOC a lot more than you hear from other random representatives who are middle. And Nancy Pelosi could somehow wrangle all those people together and get them all in line, and they were lockstep. I mean, they all voted. That does not happen in the Republican Party. You got people that are constantly not quite on board, not quite, I might get there, but they're fighting for some certain cause. And usually it's fiscal restraint, which I'm a big fan of, but they're just not all on the same board.
Yeah, it's weird to me to think about this, and I don't know where you're at on this, but like you have in the Republican Party, you have your Susan Collinses, and then you have your Marjorie Taylor Greens, and then you have your Burlesons, and you have
Massey,
your Masseys.
Rand Paul.
They're all over the place, and you've got extreme from mid to far right. You've got everybody and everything in between.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham.
Right. When
Where's he?
Establishment, you've got all that. But then when you look at the Democrat Party, everybody agrees they have their far left squad type people. Who is the Susan Collinses and the Lisa Murkowskis of the
Well, it would
left?
be Fetterman. He'd be the only one.
But even then, I'm not sure that he is.
Why not?
Well, because he's never voted differently.
That's true. Thank you for bringing that up. Because we talk about Fetterman because he's reaching across
the aisle
all
He says
the
the right
time.
things.
He votes differently. That's not true. He's voted to open the
On
government.
the government, yeah.
He's voted some other things, but he was never a consequential vote.
But I would always point to him. He's never been the vote that's made it happen. But I would point to I feel like he's more of an independent thinker than a moderate. So on some areas he is still pretty far left, but other areas he's not like your typical run of the mill moderate Democrat. And I would struggle to try to identify somebody who is.
Yeah, because the two that were is Manchin and Sinema.
And even Sinema was not a moderate whenever she first got in there. She moderated as she was in Washington.
Which is weird, isn't it?
Yes, because she was
happen?
Code Pink or whatever it was. She was like a big
She was
member
pretty
of
far
that.
left.
Yeah.
That's how she got elected. Speaking of senators, here's our own Senator Josh Hawley. Well, not me and Brad's, but you guys have a great couple of
We
senators.
adopted him.
Senator Josh Hawley talking about Pelosi.
Hopefully it'll be the Pelosi Act. She'll be the opportunity to finally ban stock trading by members of Congress. Nobody made more, I think, than her. I could be wrong. A lot of people made a lot of money. But
that's what you'll remember her for?
Well, that's if we can get the law passed. I think that would be a great achievement for the American people. There's nothing more outrageous, Mono, than the fact that members of Congress trade millions of dollars worth of stock every year, make huge sums of money with information the public doesn't get. And we ought to pass the Pelosi Act right now.
She says she's never done anything illegal or
Yeah,
unethical.
sure, of course.
Do you
They
believe
all
her?
say that. Yeah, I've been a prosecutor for years, they all say.
You don't believe her?
What I believe is that she's got access to information just like other members of Congress that the public doesn't. And technically, that's not insider trading. So it probably isn't illegal, but it ought to be.
Senator Josh Hawley. That's good stuff. And obviously, Congress, the returns they get on their investments happen to be a lot higher than you and me.
What did I read somewhere? Nancy Pelosi outtraded the S&P 500 by 500% or outperformed it by 500%.
I believe it.
That's wild.
And it's not because they just are better at picking stocks.
No.
They're not brokers.
They have to have access to like information that not everybody does. That the average stockbroker wouldn't have.
Obviously, and it may not be all of it may just be that they're that well connected.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course I'm a random representative in Louisiana. And of course this Louisiana company's talking to me more than they are other people because I'm influential.
Yeah.
And so you got a little influence there and a little bit more knowledge. And that's the way it happens. You may not know like people always think about this stuff as, well, it's because they're about to pass a defense contract and nobody knew that was going to happen, so they invested in this defense company. Well, that is nasty. That's nasty stuff.
Yeah.
That's not always the way it happens. In fact, it's not usually the way it happens. It's usually because you happen to be an influential person in your state or your community, and so you know a lot of business leaders, and you know kind of ahead of time when things are shaking out a certain way and you invest a certain way. I'm not saying that's good either.
Access to information that the general public doesn't have.
Because you're influential.
Yeah.
And that may not even be stuff that they're trying to get. That's my point.
Like, yeah, they're not going, I need this information so I can trade.
Yes.
But if, and anybody listening, if you had access to that information, you knew that, you know good and well that would affect the way you traded stocks because it would affect the way I did it too.
And you know what? There's a solution to this, and I'm not even saying that what Hawley's saying shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. If he's talking about we're trying to pass stuff, because they are. They're all trying to change the rules for senators and congressmen because everybody's sick of this stuff.
Yeah.
Totally good. Keep going. But there's a capitalist solution to this, too. And I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine. I'm not going to say his name because he didn't give me permission to tell you this. But I was talking to him the other day, and he's a cool guy. He's not a trader, okay? I don't want to paint this guy as some sort of genius trader. He's just a friend, and I see him every now and then. And we ran into each other at like a barbecue or something like that before the weather started to get a little cooler. And we just were catching up, and he made a large purchase. And I was asking him about that. I'm not going to even say what it is because if you know, I'm not going to like get the information out there. But he made a nice, big, large purchase. And I said, hey, Joe, fake name, how'd you get that thing? That's really cool that you guys bought that thing. And he goes, oh, yeah, let me tell you about how I got that thing. I started following congressmen to see how they invest. And I'm like, do tell. Tell me how this works. And Brad, you said there's a website that does
there's
this?
There's a Pelosi tracker app and stuff.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one. So he's not using that one. He told me the name of it, but it wasn't Pelosi tracker.
There's one that I actually downloaded for a little while, but I never bought stock. And so I was like, and it's taking up space on my phone, so I deleted it. But there are apps out there that you can get that will allow you to follow. And basically, the app that I had said, invest money and trade with Pelosi. And it just did it.
So there's apps that track not just Pelosi. They track all of Congress.
Oh, you can get all of Congress. That app, I think you could select from several different groups that you wanted it to.
People are suggesting ones, and if you hit the one that I recognize, I'll tell you, because the ones that you're saying aren't familiar to me. So apparently there's a lot of them. But they track what Congress does because it has to be public.
Yes.
Which is great. That's the idea.
Yeah.
It has to be public when you're trading, whether it's you or your family members or whoever, they track what you're trading on. And he said he took $20,000 and he put it into this account. And I don't think he's like a super wealthy guy, but he had 20 in cash.
If you have got 20 grand,
you're doing okay.
You're doing all right.
You're doing all right. So he put 20 grand in this thing, and he said, I'm going to take this money and I'm just going to start putting it into things that Congress is investing in when they do it, because it shows you when they make the investment too. And I said, when did you start doing this? He said about a year ago. And he goes, so over the span of that year, he took $20,000 and turned it into 60 in 1 year. And then he bought.
What other investment do you get an ROI like that?
I know. And I said, dude, that's how you bought the vehicle? And he's like, that's how I bought the vehicle. And he took some money back out and put it right back into the app. And he's like, I'm just going to try to do it again. I'm like, dude, now you got my interest. So that's crazy, but it is kind of a capitalist solution, right? If they can do it, you can do it. And I guess it's a good way of going about kind of not curtailing it, but evening the playing field in a sense, I guess, because that's all public information. So the article that I even pulled up here, I don't even know if we really need to get into it now, but it was the reason I brought that up. It's from Politico. It says, Democrats are searching for their next leader, but they still have Obama. It says Barack Obama reprised his role as the Democrats' closer-in-chief on Saturday before the election, filling a void for his still leaderless party in the waning days of closely watched gubernatorial contests in Virginia and New Jersey. I saw these. I'm sure you did too. If you're watching the news, Barack Obama was speaking at the Mickey Sherrill, her the governor-elect of New Jersey, her parties and stuff, and he was going around doing all this ahead of those elections. is there, the argument of the article is that he's still the guy. Is there anybody in the Democrat Party who is the thought leader of the Democrat Party other than Obama? Or is he the guy?
Oh, man, the thought leader? This could sound crazy, but I think it's AOC.
I'm not going to argue with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody look at me like, oh, Brad, you're insane. But I would like to point to example A, New York City, about what has happened and where that party is going. She is loud, she's influential, and she has the young voter base ear. And she has pushed them far left, especially in New York City. And so if you're wondering, where is this far left stuff coming from in the Democrat Party? It's her. Now, she is not the thought leader, but she is one of maybe 2 or 3.
Well, if you had to point to somebody, I could see her being in that conversation because she's the one pushing the party in directions.
Yes.
So is Bernie. They're all the oligarchy or they're fighting it. I don't know which.
Fighting the oligarchy. What's the oligarchy? I don't know. Maybe that's not the right word.
I don't know. Let me get on my jet. I'll tell you
Go
later.
to my lake house.
Not that one. The other lake house.
That man went from millionaires and billionaires to billionaires. Well, what changed? I became a millionaire.
Well, their argument is that Barack Obama is still pretty much the Democrat Party leader, and it's hard to argue with that. I just can't find anybody who's more influential than him.
Like
maybe AOC.
For the party, for the politicians, and the direction that goes. But I don't know that Barack Obama has the same influence on the people of the party that he used to have. I think the shine has kind of washed off.
He's not the one pushing.
No.
Ideologically.
Like, I don't think you can have Barack Obama come get out the vote for you and it have the effect that it would have had.
He's a big name.
5 years ago.
I'll tell you what I think was the last of Obama's big influential push was when he and George Clooney and whoever else got together and they wrote an op-ed in the New York Times. Obama's name wasn't on it, but they were all part of that last big fundraiser that Joe Biden did.
Yeah.
And they all went, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah.
This guy is in trouble, and not just with numbers. He can't walk off the stage properly. And then they pushed him out. And I think the Bidens hate them for that, and they always will. But I think that was his last big political move. Maybe there's still something ahead, but that was the last one that I can say that's where maybe there's going to be a turn. Because he did that, and then he lost. And it didn't work. Whatever he tried to pull didn't work. Trump is in office, so it didn't work. And that may be the end. He's still a big name, so I'm not saying you can't get donors to dish out $1,000 a plate somewhere. But I don't think that his time is ahead.
No.
I think his time is behind. Let's take a short break and come back with Ethan's Sports and Local, and we will find out what that segment is called today since it's something different every day. Hopefully it's the worst one we can find, but it's totally random now. We'll see. That's next.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO.
877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you can find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
Rooted in faith, grounded in family. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Hold up. Check it out. Sports and local.
Ethan Berger with an extra side of Eth.
That's one of my favorites.
You like that one.
I really like that one.
Because it doesn't insult you.
My favorite's the Ginger Tom Brokaw.
I do not like that one.
That's hilarious.
One of our listeners, Joe, came up with that one. In fact, there are a few that are in the rotation that Joe, that is always watching on the YouTube stream, came up with. I think that Joe had one today, Ryan. Did you happen to see what his suggestion was in the live chat today?
I did, but I'm looking for it. It's way at the beginning of the show.
I'm pretty sure it was starred.
No, well, it was, but it's not now.
No, someone unstarred it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, super
Appreciate
cool.
that. Well,
super cool.
Why don't you just randomly interrupt me when
I find it?
When you find it, please. It's a big weekend of college football.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe, we do look at those, and they make us laugh almost daily.
Almost daily. Ryan's still looking. Big weekend of college football coming your way. The Illinois Fighting Illini to start off with the lesser of the two. Well, the Illini, they don't play. That's why it's the lesser of the two.
Bye week.
It's big enough of a game for the Mizzou Tigers that you can still say, regardless, it's a big weekend. They are hosting the number 3 team in the country, Texas A&M. The Aggies are coming to town just a year after College Game Day was in College Station for this game in Texas, and A&M absolutely blew Mizzou out of the water. I think the final score was 41-10 last year. Yeah, and this was a ranked game last year. It was a really big game, and everything went wrong for the Tigers. Mizzou will be starting true freshman quarterback Matt Zollers, fresh off of the injury 2 weeks ago that Bo Pribula endured against Vanderbilt. He is all but considered done for the year. So now the true freshman, who highly regarded, highly touted, recruit coming out of Pennsylvania, I believe. There is some hope, right, that he's going to be able to keep this season moving in the right direction. We'll have to wait and see. He looked pretty good when he came in against Vanderbilt.
I was going to say I was somewhat impressed by his performance against Vandy.
You sound like you know what you're talking about, but what does Texas A&M stand for?
Agriculture and mathematics.
Ah, dang it.
Is it
You're
mathematics?
close. It's not.
Military, isn't it?
No, agriculture and mechanical.
Mechanical.
You were really close, though.
Part of it.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I was hoping to stump you.
Okay.
Great job.
Thanks. Appreciate that. If Mizzou were to lose, let's start off with the negative part. If Mizzou were to lose, their hopes for the college football playoff, gone.
Oh,
no
that's
chance.
so negative.
No chance. But if I'll hold on, I'll go to the positive.
Oh,
now.
good.
Positive now.
Oh man.
If Texas A&M were to lose and Mizzou pulled off the upset, now there's still a long way to go and you still have to win out. But this would be a huge step in this. If you were to win out, this game would be enough, I think, on the resume for the Tigers to get into the college football playoff. Now, like I said, you're doing it with a true freshman that's never made a start at quarterback, and you have to start off against the number 3 team in the country. No small task. I think the spread is at 6.5 points in favor of Texas A&M. But, hey, it's within a touchdown, so we'll see.
It's the recipe for a Cinderella story. It's also the recipe for a massive blowout.
I really hope that Mizzou can do it. This is a really important game, not only for them, but also for Eli Drinkwitz, their head coach. There's been some talk perhaps that there might be some mixing around, I guess would be the best way to put it, in the head coaches in college football, and Eli Drinkwitz has been rumored to be a favorite for several other positions out there.
No.
But if he wins this game and they are able to make a run for the playoff, then man, I'd have a hard time leaving Mizzou.
Does that make him more or less likely to leave?
If they make the playoff?
Yeah, they make the playoffs to do a run.
It's so hard to say because, I mean, you could make good arguments for both sides. He's getting paid a lot of money to be at Mizzou. But the whole thing with Mizzou, that will always be the negative compared to taking a bigger job like LSU, Penn State, Florida, some of these bigger schools that are going to have open positions, is that you're never going to have the setup at Mizzou. You're never going to have the funding. You're never going to have the attention that you would at some of those bigger schools. And if you are able to make it to the playoff at Mizzou in a year where it was very much so not expected to happen because of the injury to the quarterback, then I think that probably helps Mizzou a little bit because it proves that it is possible. You can do it, and national championship isn't that far off.
It helps Mizzou, but it doesn't help keep him. How many years are on his contract?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
But that's my point. What is the point of a contract?
Exactly. I don't disagree
to
with
hold
you.
the school accountable.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. These contracts get broken all the time.
I know that why they don't do it. They don't do it because they think, oh, well, then the next person will never sign a contract with us because then they will think, oh, they don't let me out of contracts.
Right.
And everybody else lets everybody out of contracts, so we can't do it either. But at some point, somebody's got to go, no. We're going to hold – like if you sign somebody to 10 years, you can say, well, screw it. I'm going to keep you for 10 years if you're that good. And if you actually have to like play out this whole thing, then you've created a great dynasty for us for 10 years.
Yes, I don't disagree with the point, but there's so much movement in college football when it comes to coaching that it'll just never happen.
What happens if a coach gets fired? Is the school on the hook to pay the remainder of their salary?
Yeah, and it's usually written in, but I mean, a lot of these big schools, there's massive buyouts. I mean, James Franklin is going to get paid $50 million by Penn State
for not doing his job.
Correct. Now that there is some, in the fine details, he has to get a job and then they'll pay the difference of that $50 million. So it's not entirely that.
Like you're going to get a job at Trader Joe's?
I think it probably has to be specific to
Ryan,
college football.
Do you have a 4-point plan on fixing this issue in college sport?
I do. Go back to the first segment, though.
Pay off the state debt.
Pay off the debt.
Dang it. The Blues won last night, beat the Buffalo Sabres 3-0.
Looked good.
Jordan Kyrou was a healthy scratch. He did not play, so we'll have to go ahead and see what exactly happens next for them as far as putting him back in the lineup. But clearly Jim Montgomery not happy with the way the team's been playing.
Does he need to be out of the lineup? Is he loafing?
Not him necessarily. You could argue that there's several guys, and he just kind of, I think it was probably just one of the situations where he said, yeah, it's going to be you, Kyrou.
Well, they've put Milieu, they've healthy scratched him. They've moved a lot of guys around. Man, I watched that game that I was at. It was the Canucks game here in St. Louis. It's the veterans. The veterans need to clean up their play. And it's not like they're playing bad. It's just kind of sloppy.
They're making a lot of money, and they're not – yeah, I would agree. They're not holding up to their side of the bargain is that you perform for the money that you make.
I know people, and I'm not going to out them. Maybe it's the same guy as the stock trader, who are very big Blues fans, and they are not Kyrou fans.
I've seen that.
There's a population. There's population.
This text was from today. It says, skillful but the worst $8 million a year player in the league.
Yeah, I would disagree with that, but...
He says, loafs back on defense, won't go into the corners, doesn't dig for the puck along the boards, sloppy receiving, passing the puck, just goes for a casual skate each game.
Now, here's where... And I haven't watched a lot of hockey yet this year, but last year completely disproves everything that was said. Jordan Kyrou by far had the best year of his career being a 200-foot player, being able to play both sides of the puck. So I would disagree if we're talking about last year. Like I said, I haven't been able to watch this year. A lot of guys are underperforming right now, and Jordan Kyrou is one of them, I will say that. Hey, I got some more sports news for you, but I think that specifically you, Ryan, will think that this is interesting. We have another championship franchise here in the Lou. Did you know that?
Chess?
Not chess.
The Lou?
The Lou, yeah.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
People call it the Lou.
People call it the Lou.
Okay.
People hate it too.
People in Europe call the bathroom the Lou.
Yeah, well, guess what? They're Europeans. We're Americans.
Yeah, get over it. France.
So St. Louis's professional pickleball franchise, the St. Louis Shock, have won the first ever Major League Pickleball Cup. Have you heard about this?
Were they predicted to win it, or was it a shock?
I don't like you. The Major League Pickleball Cup, inaugurated this year, is a high-stakes standalone tournament that ends the Major League Pickleball season. Separate from the regular season and playoffs, the 3-day event held at Brookhaven Country Club in suburban Dallas featured single elimination brackets and brought together the league's top teams. Last Sunday, the Shock took on the Dallas Flash. Dallas Flash in the finals, a battle between the tournament's top 2 seeds. So, these were the favorites, Ryan, top 2 seeds.
Yeah, Dallas and St. Louis.
And, I couldn't believe you didn't say something immediately.
Pickleball team right there.
The Shock won 3 of the 4 matchups. And the Shock finished the season with a 24-1 record over the 2025 Major League Pickleball regular season. Their only loss came against the Columbus Sliders, and if you ever want to watch the St. Louis Shock, they play their home games at Chaffetz
At
Arena.
The Dome.
At Chaffetz Arena.
Are you kidding me?
I'm being dead serious.
I did not expect that at all.
I'm being dead serious.
Wow.
They are owned by Richard Chaffetz.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of money in this sport that I'm not aware of?
I didn't even realize there was a Major League Pickleball.
I don't know if I would say that there is money in the sport, but the sport has a lot of attention has grown around the sport in the last several years.
You know what I would like to see?
I'll agree about that.
Is a league that comes along and challenges this pickleball league, but it's more like WWE pickleball.
Yeah.
Like there's storylines.
Like right in the middle, like off the bench, tombstone pile driver.
Not necessarily. No, we still want the sport to exist. But we want there to be a lot of pre-talk, a lot of entrance music.
It's like the XPL.
Rivalries between individuals, women involved, and like people, getting all involved with affairs and just weird.
Oh my God!
like a lot of drama
behind the scenes,
Because I think that's what pickleball is missing.
What if, after every point, you had to do a pickle shot?
I don't know that that's technically associated with pickleball.
I think the games would get a lot more
really
entertaining.
Is anything that you just said associated with pickleball?
I'm trying to keep the purity of the sport alive.
You encourage affairs
while keeping people interested, because to me you got to have both. I don't what pickle shot. Come on. That's ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
Are you out of your mind?
That's nuts. Do you have one more?
Yeah, real quick. This will take 10 seconds. Alec Burleson, the winner of the 2025 Silver Slugger Award for new position, the utility position this year. So he's walking away with some hardware after a very impressive 2025 season.
All right, cool. Thanks, Ethan. That was a good segment.
With a side of ETH.
Hey, coming up next, it's What Did I Miss from this week? Brad will host it. We'll respond.
Do
you have a dark curiosity? Heart Starts Pounding, Horrors, Hauntings, and Mysteries is a weekly podcast hosted by me, Kaylin Moore. Each week, I'll take you on a dark journey through terrifying true urban legends, bizarre true crime cases, chilling tales of backwoods horror, and more. So if you're looking to join a passionate community of the darkly curious, check out Heart Starts Pounding on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, stay curious.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: will America ever have a balanced budget again? Yes or no? It's not a real complicated question, but it is a thoughtful one, so we want to know what your thoughts are on it. Jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll, leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted, and we might read it on air. One of the comments today is, oh, no, those are compliments to the show. Oh,
Just read all those. Don't read anything else.
Okay. One of the compliments was from Quick Rick. It said, it was a good idea, Ryan, until you mentioned Trump's name. So he was talking about Ryan's plan. And if you're curious about what Ryan's plan to balance the budget is, you can rewind on the Odyssey app and go back to the beginning of the show. In the first 3 segments of the show, we discuss it and we get your thoughts on phone calls.
Fantastic. Get the podcast.
It's amazing. Yeah, and it'll be up on the podcast too. So don't leave it now, because What Did I Miss is coming up next. The time is 2:36. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You know, when Annie is off for a day, I get to prepare some things. And the main stuff that I prepared is in that first hour. And we took your calls on my 3 or 4 point plan to balance the budget. It's rather creative. And most people liked it. They had some concerns with it, and that's fine. But I think overall it was a winner. So listen to that, like Brad said. And then there's other stuff that I bring that sometimes I'm bringing for a Wiggins America segment. And I'm like, I don't know if that'll work. That may work in a different one. And I brought this today, 7 things that immediately make your house look bad. And then I realized that that is a terrible topic even when Annie's gone. It's a bad topic no matter what, because it's stuff like bland art.
Boo.
Those conversations, they go nowhere. They go nowhere. So I'm not going to do that to you right now. We're going to do a segment that Brad leads called What Did I Miss?
What did I miss?
What did I miss?
All right, this is the segment where we catch up on audio cuts that didn't make the show throughout the week and some of the topics that maybe didn't make the show out throughout the week. And the first cut that I have here is some breaking news. I don't think that we talked about this at all unless we mentioned it in passing, and it was Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Just learned as Carly was talking that Dick Cheney has died. We're learning more information as we do. We will continue to pass that along to you, of course. We just literally got this information a few seconds ago.
He was chief of staff under Gerald Ford. He was former Secretary of Defense under George H.W. Bush. He went on to be vice president for 2 terms with George W. Bush and is considered the conservatives' conservative, a very hardliner, someone extremely competent, and someone who dealt with hard issues in his 30s and has dealt with that his entire life.
They're saying that he died last night at the age of 84, and we just received a statement from his family. Ainsley, you want to read this?
Sure. It says Richard B. Cheney, the 46th Vice President of the United States, died last night, November 3rd, 2025. He was 84 years old. His beloved wife of 61 years, Lynn, His daughters, Liz and Mary, and other family members were with him as he passed. The former vice president died due to complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. For decades, Dick Cheney served our nation, including as White House Chief of Staff, Wyoming's Congressman, Secretary of Defense, and Vice President of the United States. Dick Cheney was a great and good man who taught his children and grandchildren to love our country and to live lives of courage, honor, love, kindness, and fly fishing. We are grateful beyond measure for all Dick Cheney did for our country, and we are blessed beyond measure to have loved and been loved by this noble giant of a man.
So I wanted to play that because they read the statement from the family on his passing, and it is sad to hear whenever somebody passes away. But I just felt like it was necessary mentioning that Dick Cheney did pass away this week, and we wanted to acknowledge that fact and offer.
It's good to put in what I missed for sure, because it's not something that I don't think came up other than maybe in passing or in Fox News updates as we were on. But it is something that the only thing I will add to it is to become the vice president of the United States is a huge achievement. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
it doesn't matter what party. If you've become the vice president, if you're Al Gore or whoever, Kamala Harris for that matter, you've achieved something. Now, the thing about Dick Cheney is, though, when he died, I was looking at the news that morning, and I thought, well, there's not really a lot more to report. That's why we didn't really mention it a whole lot, other than that he passed away. But I did notice that, and it all comes back to Trump again, of course, as usual, that the coverage of his death said words from the mainstream media like influential. And I can almost guarantee you that had he not come out as anti-Trump, that verb, or I'm sorry, that adjective would have been a different adjective.
I think you're all over that.
Not that that's that big of a deal. It's just, it always comes back to that stuff.
I vividly remember the mainstream media hating Dick Cheney.
They hated that guy
more than they hated George W. Bush.
Yeah, because he was war and we're against war.
They talked about Dick Cheney like he was some sort of evil puppet master behind the scenes pulling the strings on George W. Bush.
It's a fact. That's a fact.
And now they're like, oh, he was revered. And
revered, loved. He was an influential name within the conservative movement. And none of that's wrong.
No.
It's just that whenever they write your obituary, I just hate that the people writing it are writing it in light of the current situation of Donald Trump and his relation to that.
Dick Cheney lived too much of an influential life for it to rise and fall on Donald Trump and how he interacted with him.
But it's the facts.
That's the day and age that we live in.
That's the truth.
All right, so the next clip here is from Election Day or the day after Election Day, and it is, I don't know, Ryan, did you see this? Fox News did some polling during their election night coverage from different voters, California.
I'm sure I did, but I don't know exactly what you're referencing.
This is their polling on Jay Jones, and who was, if you guys remember,
Virginia AG.
Yep.
If you look at some of the questions over the Jay Jones text handle from text back to 2022 and how this is affecting the Attorney General's race there, possibility of a split ticket, we asked voters what best describes their opinion of those leaked texts. Almost half found them to be disqualifying. About 1 in 4 said they were concerning, but then another 1 in 4 said they weren't concerned or they hadn't heard enough about it. So we'll see how they cast their vote when those numbers start to come in.
So when she says almost half there, when you watch the video, it's 46% of voters.
So that's not of Democrats.
That's of voters.
Of all voters.
So 46%, only 46%, said that wanting to shoot your political opponent in the head and that hoping that their children die in the arms of their mother so that your political point can get across. Less than half of voters in Virginia thought that's disqualifying.
I just wonder where the line is to where everybody would agree that should never happen. We shouldn't vote for that guy.
I don't think that there is a line anymore.
And I'm not even trying to make some grand point. I'm just asking curiously.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
I don't think that there is, and I'm being as serious as...
Is it different for Republicans and Democrats?
Maybe, yeah.
Because they highlighted the candidate for governor in North Carolina, and this was not on our radar a lot.
Yeah.
But I do remember that when he ran, the Republican candidate, he said some stuff that they considered racist or misogynistic or something in the ist category.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. And it got enough people in the Republican Party to say, I'm not going to vote for him.
That doesn't represent us.
That they now have a Democrat governor in North Carolina,
Yes.
even though they have a supermajority of Republicans in the legislature. So that did work on Republicans, whatever that was. That thing, whatever that thing is, didn't work on Democrats for this guy.
At least in this area on that line.
Because it's not the same thing, but it does seem like it's really bad that you would privately be texting people about murdering people that you just disagreed with politically.
Yes.
And like over and over, not just the flippant text.
When the person responds to you, did you really mean that? And then you're like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm not taking any of that back. Like I read through the text thread and it was like, don't say this.
And
Are you
multiple
serious?
incidents of
Yes.
it. Not just, he said it once and it was a bad moment.
Yes.
He would say it over and over about murdering people and their kids. And you're like, that's over the line.
Yes.
Does it disqualify somebody? I would think so.
I think it should, but it also worries me because we talked about this earlier in the show. You know, we're heading to this point where the divisions are so great amongst people that you've got people that are saying this is a life and death situation. Therefore, the response is appropriately threatening lives. That's not a good spot to be in.
Yeah. Wow. It's just a philosophical question almost as much as anything. What is the line? And is it different for different parties?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
Is. I got another one here. This is from Chris Matthews, and he's not buying the polls that the Democrats are putting out about Trump's popularity.
To be honest with you, the country is moving towards Trump. I mean, these polls that come out and show him not doing well, I don't buy that. I think his strength is still greater than the Democratic strength. He is a stronger public figure than the Democratic people. I mean, Obama still has tremendous charisma, but Trump has strength. And I think that's what all voters look for. But they want a president who is a strong figure. And he's got it. And he can, it's just there. And half the country buys it. That's what I think.
So when he said this, one of the things that I think that this highlights is, and you combine this with the results of the election, the election results this past Tuesday, that was blue candidates winning blue states. Like New Jersey wasn't even, actually I looked at some of the numbers and Chitterelli actually outperformed his previous election.
Depending on what metric you're looking at.
Yeah, like he got more total votes.
He got more total votes. That's true.
But Democrats got a lot more total votes.
A lot more.
I think it was like 35% more, but
it's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's odd. But when I look at this, what I'm seeing is because we looked at the election night coverage from 2024, and it's like almost everywhere shifted right. But did they shift right to GOP, or? And I combine this with what Chris Hayes is saying here, or Chris Matthews is saying here. Are they shifting toward Trump? Are they Trump voters, not Republican voters? Because the numbers like the Latino voters and the black voters and all of that for Chitterelli didn't match the turnout for Trump. They actually went toward Mikey Sherrill.
Mickey Sherrill.
So anyway.
Last thing I'll say on this topic is that every election cycle, and I mean even off-year election cycles like this one, off November, I go on my show on the weekend and I record my picks. And I don't pick the easy races. Like if you go out and you're like, I think Republicans are going to hold Idaho. You're like, that's not
Way
a big
to go
deal.
out on a limb there, bud.
So I picked just the hard races. And ever since 2023, I'm on record. 22, I started doing it. But 23, I started actually recording it. I have picked with accuracy 100% of the races. And that's of the tough ones. And so going into that race, the governor's race of New Jersey and all the Virginia ones, I actually picked Jay Jones to lose that race just based on the data, but my gut told me no, don't. Jones is going to win that race.
They're crazy.
And so I bucked the data and went back and recorded a podcast on Monday to put on my page that says I'm changing my pick to Jay Jones over the Republican Mayaris. And then that's what happened. So I retained my 100%. But the problem is in that election, last thing I'll say because the music's playing here, the polls were so far off for Chitterelli and for some of those Virginia races that it's almost like Trump 2016 level bad. They had Chitterelli winning that race, or within 3 points of winning that race overall, he lost it by 13 percentage points. It wasn't even close. And we're talking about good polls. So, I mean, that was a weird election. Anyway, we'll be right back with the results of today's poll. Will America ever have a balanced budget again?
It's an annual tradition, the Florissant Veterans Day Parade at 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 9th. Come out and show your support as we salute the brave men and women who serve our nation. Details and parade route at 971talk.com/events.
More and more now I'm hearing when all my customers that are calling and setting up appointments for looking at different types of furnace and air conditioners, they're calling in because of all the years that I've said there is a common sense approach, and they want to see what that is. Well over 95% of the people are very happy that they did call me. I'm not saying that they purchased anything from me, but they're extremely happy that they did call me. It's not being cheaper, it's being explained in such a way to where they can make an honest decision for themselves and their family and what's best for their pocketbook. When you start getting prices for new furnace and air conditioners, call me. It's one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Again, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This special alert is for all Americans who own a vehicle. If you have a warranty that's about to expire or no warranty coverage at all, this message is for you. It's time to stop worrying about future car repairs today. Your vehicle is essential, but unexpected breakdowns can derail your plans and your wallet. It's time to future-proof your ride with CarShield. CarShield offers a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that saves drivers thousands from out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Imagine if your engine quits or your transmission fails. You could pay a fraction of the repair cost. This protection plan is at an all-time low, and to give you even more peace of mind, drivers who activate today also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Don't wait for a breakdown to drain your savings. Future-proof your car with CarShield today and drive with confidence. Call CarShield for your free quick quote. Call 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. What do you have to lose? Call 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. Again, 800-908-8646.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan, but I do like that song.
Do you like any of the new stuff?
I don't know enough to tell you.
I don't know how you haven't heard it because it's playing constantly.
Is this new stuff?
No. The something of Ophelia. The fate of Ophelia. Thank you, Ethan.
The peanut gallery's yelling. The fate of Ophelia?
Yeah, that's
Would
kind
I
of
know it if I heard it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's everywhere?
Yeah.
I can't tell you because I just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan.
She's one of those that I will acknowledge is probably pretty talented, but I just don't care.
I mean, the numbers say you can't look at her and say she's not talented because she has made billions. Is she a billionaire yet?
I have no idea.
But she's had tremendous amount of success doing her thing. But I don't seek out Taylor Swift. He's like, you know what would be awesome is some Taylor Swift. And it's not like I have any malice toward it. It's just it doesn't do anything for me.
Me too. And I feel the same way about other pretty good bands like Radiohead.
Or the Beatles.
No, you're wrong about the Beatles.
They just, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I know that like Brad hates the Beatles kind of thing is real. My favorite stuff is their earliest stuff.
You're not alone in that. There are people, and it's actually pretty common to people who don't like the Beatles, that they like their early just kind of pop stuff. They don't like everything Sgt. Pepper's and After a Revolver.
Like that. Yellow Submarine, not my thing.
You pick, of that whole era, you pick Yellow Submarine. Of course you do.
Well, it's awful.
Okay. All right.
Am I wrong?
I'll give you Ringo.
But I do like Ringo Starr's, some of his stuff. I do like some of Paul McCartney's stuff. I'll like that. But I don't know, the stuff that feels like a bad acid trip, not for me.
Some of that stuff's awesome, although some of it does suck. You know, some of Harrison's stuff.
When was Eleanor Rigby?
In the mid in the middle time was not that great. Eleanor Rigby was pre-Sgt. Pepper's. So you would have still
I do
liked
like that song.
Makes sense. Hey, if you missed the first hour, we did a 3-4 point plan to save America by balancing the budget. And that's today's YouTube live chat poll. Will America ever have a balanced budget again? I'll give you the quick rundown just in case you missed that, just to see what you think. You can comment on it like a lot of people did, commenting and calling in that hour. It was a lot of fun. First, you bail out all the states with debt in exchange for their vote on a constitutional convention to balance the budget, a balanced budget amendment. And we said that only the states that voted for it would get bailed out of their debt.
That was my amendment.
Then you keep debt levels at their current level and grow out of it, which means you wouldn't actually get out of debt. You'd just stop the debt from growing, and then you'd grow your way out of it, which is actually kind of related to a Paul Ryan plan back from 2010 and 2012. Weird that I'm pulling from Paul Ryan, but that he did do some of that, and he was actually pretty good with the budget. He just couldn't get anybody on board. Anyway, that's today's YouTube live chat poll. Brad, how do you answer this question? Will America ever have a balanced budget again?
Yeah, I'm a yes. I voted yes. I think that we have to come to a solution unless the amount of time that there is in America left is very short, because America cannot continue on the path that it's on. So we either balance the budget or the country ends in some way or another. And I don't know what that looks like or anything like that. But I'm also ever the optimist. I don't think that the current political divide will stay. I think we will find people that will come together and balance the budget.
I'll answer this question with barring a miracle from God, which is possible. No, we will not ever have a balanced budget again because it's just not high enough a priority, which is one of the reasons I talk about it so much, because I think it is such a threat to the security and future of this country.
You don't think it'll ever become obvious to the whole country that it's a threat?
By then, we're in the spiral, and how do you get out? Because that's when you really see the consequences.
I mean, I'm looking at Argentina.
Let me tell you something. I brought some stuff on Venezuela today that we ran out of time for. But what's the results of the YouTube live chat poll today?
All right. Looks like I am in the minority here. I lost my poll. Oh, there it is. No, 76% of you, and yes, 25. So it is a three-quarters of over three-quarters say
no.
There's no chance.
Well, based on what we're seeing right now, that's why I'm saying no. I mean, even the Republicans don't have that as a priority. All right, Mark Reardon coming up next.
Most people spend decades saving for retirement, but few ever learn how to turn those savings into lasting income. And that's where Financial and Tax Architects comes in. They help people across St. Louis work to protect their life savings, minimize tax